can't be a bad guy if that's your code, right?
Maybe. Yeah. You know, while I'm thinking about car stuff, do they have a, like, do you guys mourn dead? Do they have burials and things like that? Does that exist?
I honestly never was witness to any. I knew bad things happened, and I knew people died. But I don't think I ever saw a funeral. It was... The cause run in such a ruthless way that if you were to die, it was meant to happen, and it was for something. So I'm never sure what they do after, though.
You had sort of the same experience, Kyvius, I'm guessing?
I didn't really pay attention to that. It wasn't something that came up regularly, nor did I try to research it. It's an interesting question. But death rituals and post the behaviours afterwards, it was never something that I mean, I hate to say it, but it's never something I looked into.
Would anybody like to roll for that?
I would. Am I rolling history, I take it?
Yeah, I think history sounds like the right call. You know that some of the Ka rituals are, in a weird way, ritualistic of the Raven Queen. You don't know the full details. You know that they are carried on a bier in a procession along the roads, the same place the deceased person used to walk during your life. And people who die in the Ka are basically given like one last day of ritual service to the Ka, with people like pretending the corpse is going about their daily ritual and so on. And then at the very, very end, either just tossed into a mass grave, or depending on how many rings you possessed, how honored you were with the Ka, you are your body is consecrated, and then there is like food and drink given to your family, and a ribbon that you tie, that somebody in the family that's close to you would tie around their arm to represent like one additional ring that they earned from you. The idea is that even in death, there is continued servants to the greater purpose.
Mm.
And that whole thing sounds really nice until you remember that the whole idea with the rings is that when eventually somebody does something to piss off one of the Illumed or one of the Dijin cast, or tries to flee or whatever, that's where they cut your arm off, is at the lowest ring. So it's not exactly like, you know, a big get for an extra half inch because you lost a husband or a child in service to the Ka.
I'm just, you know, I don't know what the right approach is for Battered Edge, right? That's sort of something we'll have to deal with eventually.
Any interference, I think, would be worse if we were to try to make good on that, right?
Probably.
I don't think it's something we can fix. Just make sure it doesn't happen again, right? Or make sure we're not on a course to make it happen again.
Could I ask what exactly happened at Battered Edge?
That was... I think probably the right word would be bloodbath.
What happens when you save people that don't want to be saved? Or try to, is a better way of putting it.
We got cornered. We made a choice to try and save someone who was being sacrificed to a ritual, and when we were caught out, we were taken as a pretty big threat, and the Corps commanded basically citizens and some pretty untrained soldiers to attack us.
The whole thing was wrong from the get-go. I mean, we didn't exactly make a great impression on the person who, called for the people to attack us in the first place.
No. It was bad. In defending ourselves to try and leave, we killed a lot of people that weren't really threats.
We had no choice but at Warren, though. I mean, let me put it this way. At that moment in time, we had no choice. Once the actions already unfolded. It doesn't make it any less worse, but they were fervent.
Right.
We could not have gotten away without stopping them.
Not once the command was given, no.
I am sorry to hear that.
I suppose that's the thing you guys probably run into less, right? A lot of the people who are built to, be your army are born knowing that that's where their service lies, right?
Doesn't seem to have worked with you.
I wasn't really born with your people, though. What was that?
I said that's true. Given the state of you currently, you hardly seem Elven to me at all. I don't mean that, by the way. It's interesting.
That might be the nicest thing you've said about me, but I've always actually thought that way. I was hoping I'd get to learn more in the Feywild, because, elves are supposed to get big, right? They're supposed to be good martially, and that never took for me.
Well, it seems you've compensated in some other ways.
Well, yeah, I suppose. I don't know what side effects all this will have, but
An idea has struck me.
yeah.
My complete and total condescension of you has seemed to be a problem amongst the group. I think that could get in the way of combat and group morale. Perhaps I should no longer think of you as Elven.
Wait, condescension? Please explain. We just thought you were being snarky in general.
A little of A, a little of B.
I mean, at this point, I don't want you to stop thinking whatever's fair, but at this point, I'm not really Elven, to be fair. I don't know how much of that blood is still in me and how much is a lot of things.
I also think the tentacle arm is probably not Elven anymore.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm made up more of other parts than myself anymore. The ratio has shifted pretty far.
Yes, calling you an Elven would be a disgrace to the name. I agree. You, from now on, you will just be a Warren to me.
Okay. We talking disgrace in that,
I
if
don't
we
think
both,
that he quite knows what to do with this information.
if we squared up, one of them would kick my ass. Is that sort of the?
I
I
don't
think
think
maybe.
we've got to go into specifics.
Oh, I almost forgot. Erie, would you be able to send a message to Arxis?
Sure. What do you need to say?
Tell him to bring. Remember those Warforged we saw? If they could bring that with them.
I mean, they'd already be here.
Is it just me, or does
It was-
Erie sound a little older or more mature than normal?
Things not working?
It's not.
Not at all.
It would take a couple of weeks for Epitaph to like get their shit together and bring the majority of the nation over. The same thing as how like Iron Gas will take another couple of weeks here as well. So not here yet, which is how I explained away the fact that they weren't already in your town when you guys were like, "What did we bring them though?" Takes time.
We brought important people.
Wow.
Yeah, like the narrator said. Can you... One message, please. Are you just figuring out voice mod?
He is. While you guys are pondering that, is anybody like keeping watch or anything? What's the general plan there? I know that you're no longer like level 1 nobodies, but
Not me.
Yeah, I wasn't really. Yeah.
Wait, what was the question?
Is anyone keeping watch?
Well, I would
Not
like to
really.
think that I'm still kind of keeping watch around our surroundings. If I do I need to roll something for that?
I was just curious if people are like observant of like anybody's leaving the immediate area or anything of that nature.
I am watching for that.
Passively,
I'm fairly
not
paranoid in general.
I think where most of my attention would be is at the mouth of the cave to make sure no one would be coming from Docus Ur and seeing us. That's really, I wouldn't be focused on what's going on kind of behind us.
I'd be
Okay.
kind of looking here and here and here because I don't like spiders.
Okay, that makes sense.
Is fixed.
It
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent.
so is that... I'm not sure on the range or if the rocks, stop messages from going that far.
You wanted me to message Arxis, who's currently in our kingdom right now, to go bring the golems or the Warforged from Iron Gas with him.
I don't think they're in there yet because we would have known that they were
Did-
there in the past.
While you
we
were
came
fixing
through
the voice
same-
pad, our narrator added some details. Steele, if you would help.
Yeah, it'll be another couple of weeks before both Epitaph and Iron Gas manage to sort of get everybody moving and arriving in your new kingdom.
Gotcha.
Does that mean that we're 2 weeks behind the actual
Oh
catch-up?
God,
curve?
let's not start this. No,
Okay.
you're about 3 or 4 days behind.
Yeah.
But you'd be able to like leave this cave and sneak past your current selves with the cave spider thing pretty quickly. If you wanted to take some risks out in the kingdom itself, or we can just fast forward past this. Either one is fine with me.
Yeah, like I'm just want to make sure they bring the Warforged.
Yeah, I'll send that message away.
Arxis responds back pretty quickly and says, "We're coming. No guarantees about property, but people have taken the news well enough. We should be fine."
Honestly, pretty good timing to have both Epitaph and them moving at the same time. Well, close.
Can I ask something?
Yeah, I'm sure you've got a lot of questions, actually.
Well, I was thinking, are the Ka such poor company that your citizens feel completely comfortable building their new homes within acid-spitting distance of a black dragon?
Well, they don't really know about the Black Dragon.
Ah.
Yeah, that's something that we haven't really had a hot chat about.
I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Technically, nope, not 7. Like 8 people know about it, but we're not trying to tell everyone about it.
Well,
Not right away, at least.
how do you think they'll take the news?
Between not well and rioting.
The only hope we have of it being a little better is that High Helm's lineage is known for being dragon blessed, and that might help a little. But still.
Someone mentioned something. Vale Draxon had founded the blood heritages of something of some sort.
Yeah, this is new knowledge, by the way. The kingdom we were in, High Helms, it's always had a king that's had the same name for generations. They're on the 4th one now, but the first one was founded when, as far as I understand, he was dragon blessed. He was given a gift by the dragons, but we didn't know what that meant till now. Apparently, it was him.
It's becoming a consistent narrative that everything's Vale.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Do you know more about that, Glad? Other stuff he might have done?
Why don't you tell me what you know of him first?
He made the howl. He pretended to be a visionary in the car for at least a few years. He maybe brought the car from the world they used to be at here. That might be his fault, which is crazy.
Prevented them from returning.
Yep. By misleading them, probably. Founded High Helm.
He entered a library that you were there for that at
Yes,
Arc
very of
told us
great
about.
secrets.
Yeah. He killed the other most important dragon that's ever visited Rios, which was the fang-blooded guy.
Did he actually kill him?
He damaged him well enough. He didn't kill him.
Yeah, Kyo finished the job. That's why she's the Dragon Slayer.
Also, there's this whole mix of not understood stuff that he gave one of his hearts or his heart to the goddess Erithis.
Yes, I found that concerning.
Yeah. That one's...
I wonder what actually, for lack of a better word, powers him now anymore.
I don't know.
I mean, does that not frighten you just the slightest bit, Warren?
I don't know the anatomy of dragons, but assuming they don't have 2 hearts, yeah, it's pretty worrying. I mean...
Do dragons have 2 hearts?
Kill Dragon and find out.
That sounds like a very high DC knowledge roll. If it even exists.
There's a library that might have those answers.
Yeah. What'd you think, Steele?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, yeah. Go ahead and roll your dungeoneering for me. Didn't want to interrupt though.
I mean, I could roll it. I don't think I really know the answer, though.
You do have that dragon slaying bow. You are the
Yeah.
expert of killing.
It is DC 26, so you could do it, man.
All right, well, I'm gonna give it a shot. Maybe
believe in
I
you.
might know this.
Oh shit!
Oh my god.
Well,
You know this because you've looked into doing like dragon, like liver and kidney stew and stuff, and trying to figure out how you can best utilize all their
The
different organs
dragon
and what have
steak. I
you.
mean,
You know that dragons do in fact only have one heart. They've got like 4 of everything else but one heart.
which then begs me to. I mean, I clearly know there's only one heart that they have, Warren. So that scares
oh,
me beyond reason. I mean, you tell me all the time that I should not be worried, but I say again, like the hairs in the back of my head stand, on the back of my neck stand every time I hear his name, or I just simply cannot trust him.
well, I mean, I'm afraid of him too. I mean, fucking, the moment that our desires don't line up, everything's over, right? We're only here now because our interests sort of fall similar to where his are.
Well,
If
we've
they
been kind of
didn't-
funneled down his path, basically. It's not even about desires, right? We're essentially just playing his paint by number.
While that might be
Now-
true, I think it might not be a bad idea to remember the words that King Iolaus the First said. It, it might not be that he's entirely malicious, he's more misguided. That doesn't make him any less dangerous, but it does potentially give us an idea of maybe what we should be doing, which is trying to discover the, I don't know, the morality or the mindset of him, to try and understand him, and therefore maybe we could understand his decisions.
That's sort of a good point because, you know, when you put it in those terms, imagine you're a being for which consequence doesn't exist.
Right.
You make choices, and any choice you make, you can do, and no one can stop you from doing it. That sort of changes morality for a being like that. Because, I mean, who the fuck on this island could stop him?
Well, let me say this: he's insane even for Fae standards.
Wait, sorry, he's insane?
Even for Fae standards, I said.
Where are you saying that from, Galadriel?
Well, to make a long and bloody story short, similar to now, it seems, long ago he slapped a winning smile on top of his malevolent nightmare of a face and built a city of slaves devoted to Erithus.
I'm guessing those are where the stories come from of the first city he was in front of before someone tried to kill him.
Yes.
Was that Norai person?
That I haven't heard of. But it was tyrannical, oppressive, and terribly indecent.
Do you think it came from a malicious place, though? Or do you think he was just trying to enact his vision of what he thought Erithus would want?
That's not something I can say, but when you look at the results,
Oh, no, I don't disagree with that.
He has said he felt like he used to be a very foolish dragon. I mean, he could be lying, I can't tell, but he did say he was trying to be a lot less like the creature that he's becoming afraid of. Said that being in that form twists his mind to do things that are different. But
well, if you're curious of the past, you need only look towards Luna's tour.
no.
Sorry,
Fuck you.
Why does
I
that
know
sound
you're
familiar?
saying no, Warren, but I need to understand here. What do you mean by that, Galadriel? And why are you shaking your head, Warren?
Lunos Tor is the city he built for Erithus?
It's the very top of it, the citadel. I'm afraid the slums where his slaves lived is far beneath the ocean at this point, thanks to Cord.
It's so cool to hear that the visions in my head I didn't make up. I gotta tell you.
Yes, I'm sure that is some comfort.
What visions did you have of Lunas Tor?
Well, I didn't, but you know, it when you put the stories together, like that Vale made this, I had a vision that whenever he was attacked and Erithus was struck in the heart, that Cord was so furious that he split the island in two. So Galad is sort of filling in the details.
Yes,
Mm.
Cord smash as he does.
Know that you could say that so casually.
He's very one note in that way.
The only reason I'm blown away, Saigo, is because the world as we know it, as I know it, doesn't know much about Lunos Tor. It's a very hidden, underexplored place. Little is known about it.
It seems intriguing.
Yeah.
To touch
But-
on that briefly, the Dust Hunters told you in passing that they avoid the hell out of the place because when there are people who go there sometimes, there is evidence that it is still like lived in or occupied. There will be things like lights are lit and the place is still like it seems like people should be there, but the only thing that exists there is just horrible beasts.
And I've mixed these two up before, but Ashtung the Third, one of the last places he visited, was that a Theos or was that Lunos Tor? We've been told. I just have the name mixed up.
He traveled to Lunos Tor, like commissioned a ship and went out there as part of his search for what the Howl is. And after he visited there, he went back home and was a different person, and then died a very weird king, assassinated like the following week.
Yeah. That whole
Which
place
now
is
that you're
shrouded.
thinking about it, that's a weird timeline.
Yeah. Do you know any more about this city as it's been since those days?
I confess not. I know it was terrible, but up until recently I didn't even know of Erithus' fate.
It's confusing from what I understand. There's that she was struck and lay dying for a long time. Then Vale plucked out his heart and gave it to her. And they laid in an embrace for a very long time, and then she left. And he now lives in pursuit of seeing her again and thinks that if he does enough in her name that would be good, he might truly get to see Erithus once more. From what I understand, Dragon, if he decided he was making up this whole game, I wouldn't know.
Does anybody in the party speak Draconic?
Not me, but I can
Okay.
use comprehend languages.
Okay. Comprehended languages only works on things that are written, right?
I believe you are correct. I think I can also listen. I'm gonna double
Okay.
check. Ba-ba-da-da-da-ba.
It changes in every edition.
Oh, that's right. I don't have it in here because it was what I chose
I
as my
didn't.
first ritual.
Yes, my apologies.
Nope, that's okay.
I'll fix that up today.
Well, I would look it up, but my keyboard isn't working, so let's just say whatever you're saying at the moment is true.
Okay. It's only lets you read things.
Choose a language you have heard or a piece of writing you've seen within the past 24 hours. Cool.
Okay. And I just wanted to just jump in and like take control of Kyvius for a second and clarify to you that I mean, Kyvius has always been a clever guy. At some point in time, you would have taken these terms like Lunos Tor and like written them down and tried to understand their sort of their native language. And Kyvius, I'm sending you a real quick thing.
Ooh.
Well, I had a space in there, so there's 2 messages. But the first part.
Hey!
The first part is just secret to Kyvius. That is the actual name of the city according to Vale. And the second part is what Lunos Tor actually translates to that everybody can see. Again in Draconic.
Well, Thaddeus, is it magical in nature?
What in particular? Sorry, catch me. I was just remembering something, and I might have not listened very closely.
The fundamental thing that powers it or its core, do you know?
That powers Vale?
No, Lunos Tor.
Oh,
Probably.
I mean, I would imagine. So, Lunos Tor is Draconic for Celestial Embrace, and I'm gonna mess.
Shokea.
Shokea, thank you. That's a Draconic phrase that, well, it roughly translates to. This pretty much describes Vale. Monument which is of greater brilliance and importance than all of the stars within the sky.
Ha! Well, that was interesting. I didn't know what the city's true meaning was.
I mean, that sure fills the lifeline with what he's trying to do with this city. He told us we'll build something that'll ascend to the stars, that'll be greater than anything that has ever existed. He literally wants to touch the heavens with deities. What an effort to talk to a girl.
Yeah. Well, one thing I didn't know, Warren, is the story that you told that Erithus eventually went away. You told us what happened when he gave her his heart, but you're saying that afterwards Erithus just vanished?
Yeah, that part was really confusing. I've been trying to understand it. After the gift of his heart was returned, it's hard to tell passage of time and weird things that happen in your brain, but it seemed like they stayed together for a very long time. I don't know how long, but eventually she left. She like wished him goodbye and good luck and went on her way. And from what I remember in that moment, it's vague, but Vale seems to be under the impression that that wasn't really her. That what he saw was falsification, was not actually this deity. He didn't really spend that time with her. That was all fake, and by assembling this new nation, maybe he can really get to see the real her again.
But then does he think that he gave his... Oh, yeah, okay.
I don't know.
That is more dangerous than I had known.
Why do you say
Yeah.
that?
Make him kind of insane, wouldn't it?
If it was the true Erithus and his complete idealization of these gods has been tarnished.
Because he believes a lot in them. Remember when we were early founding in the kingdom, he was talking about different ways you could do things to appeal to each deity's nature, as though there's some way to perfectly appease all of them simultaneously. He holds them in pretty high regard.
Gala, do you have any idea where that fervor comes from? That unadulterated. I mean, usually, at least amongst our people, there's religious types and there's zealots, but do you know anything about the history there?
Not that I can say specifically, but think of this. He is a inherently chaotic evil being. If he is trying to stray against that alignment, and he's channeling it into religious fervor,
That
I
is,
think of all of the things, I mean, you all know the visions that I had when we were children, and there's the things that Warren has seen since we've come back together. And it seems that every road we take, every step we've made along this journey, all seems for one reason or another to lead back to Vale. Who brought the car here? Who led us to Docus Ur? Who's intervened in several major encounters in our lives? In my opinion, the more we know, the better off we'll be, and it seems to me that Gallad has given us our best clue of where we could potentially learn something, I mean hopefully learn something more about him. I certainly wouldn't mind checking out Lumos Tor, just to see if there's the off chance that we could find out something about Vale himself.
your deductions seem sound to me.
I wouldn't be opposed to knowing more. He's a little secretive. Remember when I asked him about bringing down the Howl, and he said he didn't want to do that yet because it's not ready?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what he meant by that.
See, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Is I want to stop thinking that less. I want to stop saying I'm not sure what to think about that, or I'm not sure what he meant by that, and I want to start answering those questions because I feel like that's going to be the key. If we can maybe understand his motivations, maybe a couple of these mysteries about him will unravel.
Does
But
he...
Cavius, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Cavius, you and I are not exactly capable of talking to him.
Oh, I'm not saying that we're going to get a straight answer from him, but apparently he's left behind one of his larger creations, if only just a part of it. I say let's go see what we can find out.
Does he keep an eye on you all?
I mean, I would almost certainly think so.
I would think so. I would be surprised if he doesn't have his eye on us right now.
And his ears?
That I'm not so sure about.
I don't know. He's capable of things that I don't really understand.
Meta question, Steel. If I know enough about his heart, would I know about his dragon's hearing range?
You know what? Yeah, go ahead and give me another dungeoneering check.
He's using the arrow. His mind.
It has been your experience, limited as though it has been with dragons, that due to the extremely loud, earth-shattering nature of their roars and thunderous flaming or whatever, you are fully aware that as a sort of a defense mechanism, most dragons actually have very poor hearing and sight in general. But you also haven't heard of any dragons that are as large as a mountain, and that changes things a little bit. You also recall very distinctly that Veldraxon's coloration doesn't match up with anything that you've heard from before in the past. His skin that is black and then with seams of gold doesn't strike you as any known species.
It's an eventuality, right? Like everything we do eventually comes back around. If we could get along with him, that would be really great. But I just like
We could lead by example, right? He wants to build a great kingdom. If we show him that a great kingdom doesn't come from a source of superiority or plight, maybe that could change some of his views.
I
I
mean,
just wish
as much as I'd like to think that we're capable of that, a god literally smashed his last attempt at building something like Docus Ur, and that didn't convince him to change his ways. I think we're going to have a little bit of difficulty.
I'm not sure though, right? I don't know plans, but I know people. And he brought the Caw here, but he built High Helm. I don't think he knows what's right to build a city.
I think he's convinced that something was wrong with the way he did it before, because this time is a lot more meticulous, right? He's created this stage. The Car, High Helm, the chosen people coming to the nation. Going through all that effort.
The Gravelands people too, right?
Yeah. Going through all that effort is like desiring something really specific, you know? And if all he needed to do was throw enslaved people at it till it was built, well, he wouldn't have trouble with that. He could do that again pretty easy, I think.
Meta question. Keo mentioned the giant roar to you, and the ageless beast that was killed in our lands, quote unquote, torn apart. Was just Warren aware from that, or was the entire group aware from that?
I'm pretty sure he would have told people, because Keo told us and then left, and then I was just with you guys. So I think he probably would have told the group about it.
Okay.
To one point of contention, not actually an ageless creature, just one of the big predatorial like rocks, the big winged birds that sail around the mountaintops that had come down for an easy meal and was cruelly shredded and dashed upon the rocks.
That's the one that happened recently. Yeah.
Or
And it was
will
the same
happen.
thing for
Yeah, will happen. The noteworthy thing about that is that that was actually not too far from the cave that you guys are currently located in.
We could
And
watch that happen.
I guess that's true. What's
and
that, Stu?
I have nothing else to add.
No, I just need to clarify. So it sounds like, to me, it sounds like, one, he's unsure how to accomplish his goal, but he's also very protective of making sure whatever he's planning isn't interfered with.
It's one of those things, yeah, where like if someone crosses over a line, the wrong line, I feel like it's met pretty harshly. In fact, I can't say this with absolute certainty, but I kind of fear for the car if they decided an immediate, and they won't, but if the car decided an immediate invasion was their approach, I think that'd be bad for everyone. And them, too.
I'm not sure. If Vale's unsure and the Caw beat us and take over Rios, wouldn't that be his answer?
Maybe that's true. It
I
is set up
think
like
it has to do with what he's set up. He only wants his pieces on the board interacting with each other, not the natural things that are already here.
It's
Things that he didn't
true.
bring here.
That's a really good point. He's not exactly building a giant sandbox and letting the ants build it for him. He set up the entire ascendance. He created this entire plane. He's created entire cities before. It does seem like it's his path. That's a good point, Erie. It's true. We might have more protection from the car here than anywhere else. When you think about it, if they came in and tried to destroy what he was creating.
No, I think the opposite. I don't think he'd interfere with the car at all, because he also brought them here. If they take over this place, you think that's just part of the plan.
he was gonna give it to the other group if they beat us here.
That's true, but since we are here first, that seemed to mean something to him, didn't it?
Yeah,
No,
it's so hard
I
to
don't
tell
know.
what he cares about.
He said on that day that we were there and we were successful because the gods deemed it. It could be tomorrow that the kingdom falls to the Ka because the gods deemed it.
Yep,
I
Yeah,
think
there was
it's possible.
I think Vale was confused.
there was that whole thing with the lamp too, where that was a test of character.
I
Oh
think
no,
the best thing we can do is show them that we're right. And maybe one day we come to blows, but we can't condemn someone we've heard stuff about. I need to know all he's done to lay a judgment on him. So I agree Luna's tour is good. He also went to the Tempest Cradle too and learned something there.
If High Helm itself was also created by Veldraxen, I think you'll find that you should not be surprised if everything on this island was done by Veldraxen.
Well, we know he
the
created
old,
High Helm. We know he brought the car here.
it's potential that he's the. It's potentially possible that he's the cause of the ageless.
Right. I mean, if that was the case, though, wouldn't he be the cause or the one who killed Erithis? Because it's her blood that creates the ageless, no?
That's never been proven. It's just sort of one of the theories.
And we do know that him flying over where we were that one night, and then next time we know we see Aegis, like,
Wait, say that again? I'm not remembering.
Blanked on the name.
Yeah, when we were
The-
in
Dog people.
Knolls.
They just Knolls.
Knolls.
when we
Yeah.
were in the Crooked Vale before the Knolls attacked, we saw him fly by just before that happened. Or was it after? It was very close.
Well, he's also
Close.
admitted that he sent those to us because he wanted
Yeah.
to deal with them. And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you go kill those for me. They got a bit out of hand.
Yeah.
And it should be suspicious that Luna's Tour has a bunch of monsters in it.
I mean,
Indeed
the
it
only
should.
place, and the only place we don't have any knowledge about is Bravelands. But other than that, you can see his finger in every other place I can think of. You
The
know,
library. Oh, go ahead.
library.
The library itself seems like it would also be a good repository of knowledge.
Well, that was where I think we said maybe the Warforged started there.
Yeah, it could be. That's another one that's shrouded in mystery.
It is. It was also told to us though that he pretty much ransacked it already. We can still find a clue or two. That's no reason not to go check it out.
Well, that's 3 places of good knowledge. There's the people who know about the mantles, and
The fire
guarded the dragon's path. Yeah. They named which one of the dragons chosen we were, so that probably says they know a few things.
They're also like right on front.
Yeah,
You know,
closest walk. That guy also turned into fire and flew away, so like, I kind of,
you send a sending spell to him, Miri, because you've seen him.
I suppose
he told us where we could meet him.
we could just go see him.
Well, I guess, yeah. Well, at least say, we want to talk to him in, a week's time? 2 weeks?
The next chance
I suppose we could see him now, couldn't we? It's not like we're going to run into our past selves didn't go talk to him. We're heading for the Feywild.
Yeah, but the car were right downstairs when we went there.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Plus,
they were pretty close.
I think those stairs weren't in great shape.
They're on the other side of the Stairs of Penance. They're in where our kingdom is. They're up in the mountains around the area.
Well,
Yeah,
I
there's an
guess
arrow
if we
to 'em on the map.
encounter them, we could just, turn around.
They're in our kingdom grounds.
Yeah, we don't have to go back. We go forward.
The
But we do
car
still
in our
have to
kingdom
wait.
grounds?
No, the firekeeper people.
Yeah,
I was
they
just
are.
gonna
Okay.
The
say,
big red arrow.
if the Ka mob was like in there in a giant mosh pit, we could just be like, "Oh, okay, we'll come
yeah,
back."
The Kama would be down here.
Wait, I'm
we
getting
don't have
myself confused. Why is Lunos Tor over here? I thought Lunos Tor was up here. Or that's Shokea. I'm getting my names confused.
Shokea was Vale City. Lunastor was
Yeah.
the citadel at the top of it.
Gotcha. Right. Okay, I thought. Okay, yeah. Ignore
And the
me.
merfolk were here in the Opal Trench, right?
Right.
They're where the red arrow is.
Theos. I mean, that's doable. We should really. I mean, all these ideas are well and good, but I'm a little worried about civil war in our kingdom before we leave again.
Civil War?
Yeah, not yet, but
We're
it doesn't take
bringing
much to incite
Ka
distrust.
and High Helm into one city. It's likely going to be a lot of fighting.
And a lot of partying, I hope.
I hope so.
Eventually,
Yeah.
we'll eventually have to deal with that. Like, we should probably make some laws.
We should figure out what's going on with Kana.
Yeah, but we can't do that for another 3 weeks?
Well,
Not until
just
for the Feywild, right?
that's
4
in.
days.
Yeah.
Listen, I've lost track of time.
Yeah.
I've been out of caves for like 2 weeks, and Feywild, I just don't know.
Actually, while we're sort of cooling down as a trade, Galad, is there stuff you want to know about now? You know so much about the past, but things have changed.
I'm not sure where I would begin.
It's a tumultuous time, as has been for a long time.
We've covered Irongast, Epitaph, and High Helm.
Yep.
Anything about the Bravelands?
I know very little.
Okay. It's about everyone here.
Yeah, we don't know much about them either.
We should probably send, like, an envoy? Is an envoy what kingdoms do? I don't know. We could probably like send someone and say hi.
The only thing we know about them is their military stance, which that information hasn't been updated in a long time, which is basically they're waiting for one of the groups to lose so they can kill the other one.
Titter and Tatter were an envoy.
Okay, but not that. I didn't enjoy that.
Oh, I think
Oh.
it would have been much more enjoyable if it wasn't in the middle of, half of High Helm disappearing. But they were a little funny. I mean, if you think of it out of the context of their visit. Speaking of which, they are supposed to be coming to visit us again.
I don't know if that's going to be as friendly of a return.
Yeah, I just realised they probably might not be so pleasant.
You'd be surprised how quickly allegiances change.
You know, it would actually help me a little bit if we were filling in Galad, if we could talk about the car a little. Now that they're out in the open, I know tons about the Sorothian. I know nearly every battle the car have waged or skirmish they've been in that has ever been documented in the past 10 years, but I don't know a fucking thing about their culture or their people or anything.
Do any of us?
I think Kyvius might. Morgaine might, maybe. Less
I was-
likely, though.
Not gonna lie, I was a little sheltered. As
Yeah.
bad as High Helm is with Warforged Cause, not better in any degree.
There's so much talk about the Golden One, following the path of the Prophet, and I don't know if there are other levels to there. Like, is it you talk to the head of the nation or no one? Is there no intermediaries? I don't know
You're
how
talking about,
they're...
when you say the golden one, you're talking about Memnon, right?
Yeah, that's just the name they seem to have given him, I suppose. The one I hear a lot. To follow the golden path. Which, if it's just a guy using a basic ritual, is really funny to me.
Well, it works.
It does. It works really fucking well.
It's just funny. I just realised the golden path and then dude and then never mind. Giant sandworm. Veils our
Oh
King
my
Leto.
You know anything about the call leadership at all, Kyvius? Is it one guy calling the shots, or they sort of do their own thing a little bit?
I don't think I would have got that. I don't know. Steel, what do you think? I know that I was like a high level ringed, but I don't think I would have got like really close to the true. Would I have, or would I have been able to hear?
So it sucks, right? Because you quickly discovered that the whole setup is in such a way that people always feel like they have a little bit more to strive for, but
Yeah.
can never really make the jump from binary to whatever. So Memnon, who is the highest rank, is the Caliphate, and he is beneath the Grand Sultan, who resides in some other plane or dimension or something. But that's not the same sultans who are one step below the Caliphate. That is, a title appointed exclusively to like a certain illumined, and then from there it's the Padishtadom, and then the Shahdom, and then the Emirates, and then the Shahiraphates, and then the Imamates, and like you can get down to the Malakates, and those ones are like a title that you can have regular ringed people become, but they don't have any power unless the Khedivites allow it, and it just goes on and on and on.
It's like it's like not even a pyramid scheme. It's more like a big ball of yarn scheme. So you can't really follow who's in charge. So you can always feel like you're striving for something else.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's pyramid scheme's good. If there was a shape that could describe it, right, with like a big all-seeing Memnon eye at the top, and then it kind of just goes down in layers.
except that it doesn't even follow a normal pyramid. It like winds around in on itself. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I mean, I think we've talked about this, but ultimately, the leadership, they're transplants really from the city of Brass itself. They're Jinn. They're elemental in nature, and they harken back to the kind of structures and the order that was implemented there. Although that being said, the one thing I do remember is there's kind of a running theme of hey, maybe we're a little better off here than we were in the Plane of Fire / City of Brass. So there's a string of that. I don't know how high up that goes, but yeah. I mean,
But that's the
Memnon.
same kind
Sorry,
of
go ahead.
propaganda they spread amongst the people as well, where the propaganda amongst the Illumined is we're better off here than in the elemental planes of, the city of Brass. And the people believe, well, we're better off here in this city struggling as slaves than the rest of the world has it because they're dangerous lunatic heretics who are only going to like murder their own brothers.
So to answer your question, Warren, yes.
Yeah, okay. I see. And they're trying to return to the city of Brass
Well,
or achieve unity.
I think it was really more like, and correct me if I'm wrong here, still, make this place like the city of Brass.
That's pretty close to being accurate, yeah.
They want to
That
transform, yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's not to return; it's to return home by making here home. I see. Which would explain why they're putting sand everywhere. And
Well, I
they're
mean,
trying to.
I think I mentioned, but the rings, and I pull my sleeve down, those are created by the sand that comes from the elemental plane around the city
Oh,
of Brass. That's what we were ringed with. We were ringed with a grain of sand from that area.
kind of. It's a little cool. Pretty symbolic.
Can you stop appreciating them?
I have to agree.
Hey, you don't happen to know, Galad, is this Rothian a name that's crossed your time before us?
Has this Rothian been talked about in the Feywild?
No, you're familiar with the Sorothian beetles that are not native to the Feywild. They're native to the Shadowfell, but you've heard of them before as. They are really incredibly stupid little beetles that don't actually feel pain and tend to like run headlong into walls and kill themselves or like wind up sleeping next to a fireplace and burning to death in their sleep. But you've never heard of the Sorothian, the person.
Very Shadowfell.
Yeah.
No, I have no idea who that is.
Well, okay. That was a shot in the dark anyway. His
I
whole
heard you
origin.
armed him, and that seemed like a poor idea, but I know little else.
He's fucking.
Not being racist here, just
Yeah.
saying.
No, I get it. I know. There's a lot of steps to my plans, and sometimes they're risky. When you're dealing with somebody who can't die, things change. He's on top of being the cause general, he's essentially immortal. He can. You've seen their robot forge, the ones that sort of look like Morgaine but a lot less cool.
Mm-hmm.
He can inhabit any of them, I think.
But not Morgaine?
Everybody turns their head and looks.
He sure fucking
We've had this
hasn't yet.
conversation before, so I don't know. He hasn't done it yet, or ever, nor has he ever communicated with me.
Yeah.
That's reassuring.
Yeah, that's about where I feel too.
Yeah, essentially his consciousness is somewhere else or in a jar or in all forged forever. And he shows up where the Ka want to enforce their military strength. But fighting them is sort of hard when you have to deal with essentially a minor deity on the front lines at all times.
Fascinating. Yes, that seems tricky to deal with.
The bonus is the blank slates aren't as nearly as tough as he is.
Yeah.
Well, if
Like,
Warren put him, habit, I apologize.
it's not a fair fight for him. I've studied him for 10 years of my life. I'm almost like his stalker, you know. But I haven't figured out how to kill him, so a lot of good that's done me.
Well, keep on it.
Thank you. I'm assuming that technology isn't something the Fae know of. You guys are immortal in
Technology
your own ways.
Right, technology is an icky word for us.
Right.
I don't think they would have made elves if they had Warforged.
I mean, elves are much more stylish. You excluded, present company excluded, of course.
I look at this one hoodie I've worn for all this time. This one jacket I've worn for all this time. Fair.
You look great.
I look like I served the Raven Queen. Wished I'd have figured that out 10 years ago. I had a really bad idea that I don't know if we want to make good on just while we're sitting. Eerie, since you interfaced with his consciousness, you pushed your magic into him. Wouldn't it technically be possible for you to track his location?
I mean, I'd have to do a ritual with him.
If you messaged him?
Is true, yes.
I don't know that that helps us right now.
Yes, does that connection go both ways?
Don't believe so.
That's a good question. We never asked about that.
Technically, the connection for Eerie is unique. It lets him see them, not the other way around, but it doesn't mean they don't have a way of seeing us.
Also true.
Quick question. What about Erie makes it so that he can locate them?
The Grail of Living
His
Brass.
implement. Yeah, Mother Dearest's implement.
I think.
I mean, and then
Yeah.
as a children, we didn't know where she was. So,
Good point.
Little less complex though as children. It's also Ka made, so you know.
Yeah. Maybe more of a weapon in your back pocket for later. Like, if we were trying to find the location of the core city that perpetually moves and is basically invisible, I bet maybe he was around there. Not helpful now.
It doesn't seem to move very fast, though, Warren.
Yeah, it's just fucking hard to find.
Well, with that on the burner for now, anything else?
Thanks for you two backing me up on the roof. I mean, sure, his jest for grabbing the sword was sort of a. I mean, Fandon's sword was right next to him, but still. I wanted to set a precedent that would save lives in the future, and I took a really risky move. And it could have ended really poorly. So, thanks for helping me not die.
I think you can take him.
Okay, but like no more weapons for the Caw after this, right?
Well, I mean, it was a trick anyway. He was testing me with his fucking... Just like he was when I was a kid.
Well, what was the test though? Like, if you hadn't given him a weapon, he would give you an F, and the combat would have been easier.
Because right now it sounds like he just tricked you into treason.
So he asked for a sword. Literally next to him was a sword already. Fandon's blade.
I'm
which he
not
could
really
have
sure he could have
picked up.
used Fandon's blade though.
When he threw me my sword back, he picked up Fandon's sword and attacked us with that. He literally attacked us with Fandon's sword when he gave me mine back. So yes, he could have. It's a strange... If there's one constant thread to his life that I understand, it's that he follows some sort of personal code of honor. Maybe he was just trying to gather knowledge to figure out what kind of people we were. Maybe he really was trying to fight honorably, quote unquote. I mean, he did yell out when I attacked him that he was trying to be civil because he could not die and I could, but the point of doing so is that if he's... In history of war, a lot of people's lives can be saved from pointless death if the leaders believe that the conflict is between higher powers and not between the people who shouldn't be holding swords in the first place. If I can save a couple lives by making him believe I'm honorable before I stab him in the back like he did to my father, then I'll take it. Because it's a time-limited offer, as long as it's convenient for me.
Well, we want to go meet with those firekeeper people.
It seems, since they're the closest, that seems the most obvious choice.
I don't think we have to get past ourselves. They're in our kingdom.
Oh, I thought they were at the entrance.
Well, I mean,
No,
I
we've
could
been
al-
over this.
Yeah,
They're in our
yeah.
kingdom.
I could
There's
always,
a big red arrow in our kingdom.
if we have enough residium sitting around, I've been dying to try and cast this spell, so I could maybe get myself a little more familiar with it, and I could kind of sort of disguise us.
I mean, but
Oh, clever.
I'm just saying it only saves us 2 days because we're leaving soon. I don't want to leave our kingdom alone. I'm worried about it.
Hey,
However,
Zygar, how bad of shape is everyone in?
In
You
what
tend
sense,
to-
Morgan?
Well, like health-wise, tend to have a good eye for this type of stuff.
Hmm,
Everyone's good at masking it, but you know.
I know, but I think we're doing okay.
I'm doing pretty good, yeah.
I mean, Morgan, I did want to take some more time to try to repair you again, but that's a side conversation.
Oh goodness.
Listen, it needs to be done at some point.
Absolutely. At some point, by someone, it needs to be done.
Some of you are still showing your health bars, which I will have to fix because of the Feywild, but I will get on that next session.
It's only one person, right?
I can only...
It was
Warren,
three.
There's three
Yeah,
of them.
Warren.
Yeah.
Or Erie, for example.
It was half the fucking party.
Mm-hmm.
Can we?
Cavius, Saigar, and Warren. No
Yeah.
health bars anymore.
Wow.
Can we at least wait long enough to recharge ourselves? We
Are you
haven't.
talking like getting some actual rest, Warren?
Yeah.
It
Well,
sounds
because
like, Warren, you want to try and take like a long rest.
because we've just made a choice which will permanently alter our future, which is to carve a way forward that doesn't include a foundling stone. So that means this little residium we have, that's fucking it. This is our kingdom. This is it. This is all we have for our whole kingdom right here. I'd feel bad using it on another meal.
That's fair.
But we'll have to figure out how to get a other source of it. But
Every
yeah,
other still existing nation on Rios has turned away from it, so I'm sure we can find a path. It's just going to be hard.
I think long rest it is then. Unless anyone else wants to do something.
I just have some emails to send.
As usual.
I have an idea for a project with Kyvius over our long rest time.
Make sure you read the last email you sent had your old job title. Make sure you're to update your signature on it.
I'll just sign it God.
General Operations Director.
I can't think of anything else. I was going to message the Sorothian, but you guys talked me out of it.
You talked yourself out of
Oh my
it.
god.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing that you did so. I was kind of hoping people would talk Warren down, so thank you.
Wait, did I miss? I don't think anyone talked you down.
There
I
was
think
the
Erie's
threat
like,
of that.
maybe I could, and then like you're like, oh no, but maybe he could. Like you sort of like figured it out yourself. We were just a wall you talked at.
Wait, hang on for a second. Is this Morgaine in character suggesting it's not a bad idea?
Oh my god.
Morgaine didn't say anything. He didn't have a chance
All right,
to until Warren flipped her out.
I'm just saying, when Warren's like, well, I'm so glad you guys talked me out of that, in character, which I'm sure he would have done.
Yeah, you know, a bad idea, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know
Because-
why I expected anything else.
Because like I was gonna go down. I was gonna figure out what the ritual of rites for death was for the car, and I was gonna message the Sorothian. I was gonna go down to the stairs of penance where the forged army is. We were gonna have a little get together.
I
Well, maybe
think
not.
we should take a nice long rest and think about these things.
Why don't we sleep on it?
It's not like that army can hurt me. And then we sit.
Inside,
Okay.
out of the way.
Right. Saigar, you had mentioned you were kind of just keeping watch over the area in general terms, and Kybis, you had mentioned that during the night you were kind of keeping watch sort of towards the general entrance of the cave.
Right, towards
that would lead
Dokasur.
into Kingdom, right?
Yes.
So I want to have a quick little Kyvius scene then before I stop bullying him.
Oh God.
So Kyvius, your relationship with Morgaine has suffered greatly in the last few weeks since the Feywild, as you of course know, with your childhood friend claiming that you continually made the wrong decision, choosing power over what was. But you recall the dream that you had had, where you were walking down the streets of the city that you would come later to know as Cendriane. You had spotted the reflection of Galadriel, a man that you hadn't yet met. If you can call Galadriel a man, he is in fact so much more. And you had seen yourself at the end of the alleyway searching for something, young Kyvius, eyes full of determination. And you knew in this dream, even then, that you knew what you needed to do to close the loop, to finish the story, all those phrases that the Mora had said. But in the dream, you remember you couldn't. There was honey filling your pockets, and they glued your feet to the ground. And when you were unable to call out to your younger self in time, and they left, the very fabric of your reality began to unravel, and you were torn to shreds, and you woke up in a cold sweat. And while the others have long debated what counts as changing anything, only you really know for sure what the actual consequences are. And you alone are sort of aware of the extreme burdens that the Fey magic had weighed you down with, like the heavy stone discs etched with the promises that the fourth king of Highhelm had worn to remind him. And while your past and your present have very nearly synchronized, there is still one final torturous scene that you were unaware of because Warren never told anybody. And when you are out just trying to get a good idea of like if there's anything else that you need to worry about, just a weird sensation, you can hear the sounds of people moving through the cave. It sounds like a family. There's a young child with them. There's an older man and an older woman, and they are being led by a deserter, a soldier of Highhelm.
Oh my god, yeah.
Was this your
Yeah.
scenario?
Mm-hmm. It never would have come up. I'd have never mentioned it. I didn't even know it aligned in this time frame.
And as you kind of like just find a quiet spot to sort of like figure out what the hell is going on, alone and away from the rest of the group, you can hear the sound of something else larger moving around, something sniffing at the air, and a low growling rumble. And you look up and you realize that it hasn't seen you, but you can very clearly see it. It is a four-armed shape that you recognize as one of the members of the sort of the Ka force that you don't know why it is still here in this cave. But along with Karna and Shireen and Mr. Garrow and Polonius, Shay's childhood friend, and Zalt the Half-Broken, there was a Oni by the name of Sawtooth. And you watch as this four-armed, blue-skinned creature drops down from the roof, hunched down into a low predatorial position, and you can see that the family, 3 people, led by the soldier, the deserter, unaware, making their way sort of towards this general area. And your mind races as you realize that, like, you don't know if there's anything that you can personally do to intervene or stop this. This was a force that you would have struggled with at that point in time, but you're stronger now. It's hard to say for sure, but by the frothing, hungry expression on its face, you can tell that this creature has been waiting for a meal, and these people are going to fulfill it. And you had heard, after Warren had taken soldiers into the cave to recruit this thing, that he had done so only because he was notified by Kiovasan that there was a family who was murdered at its hand. And for everything that you've done all up until this point, you know that this is the last one. You could intervene, maybe. But if you did, then was everything that happened with Morgaine less important than these random strangers? Is Kyvius capable of sitting and doing nothing in a situation where if he didn't, it would abolish all of the hard choices that you made up until this point? This is the last one before the time streams synchronize again. And all you need to do is turn around and walk away.
Um. God damn it! You're not. It's not my turn. It's someone else's turn.
I know. This is the last one. I didn't want to do it. The soldier, he's moving carefully, right? Trying to lead his family. There's obviously like a father and a mother. There's a young blonde-haired child, probably about 13, 14 years old, probably the same age that you would have been when your parents. And then the creature that you had felled and chosen to release back out here, and Eerie told, get the fuck out of here, still vicious and untamed and starving, gets low, and you can just imagine, just like Morgaine would, leap across the gap and tear into this family. But you also know that you probably couldn't fight it by yourself. And even if you did, how much would unravel? How much would hurt you? Would you retain the powers that you had to make all of these choices to get to? This is the burden that nobody else gets to understand except for you.
May I ask a couple of questions just before I do something terrible?
Yeah.
Or don't do something and it's terrible. I heard that Sawtooth killed a family. Did I ever hear who found them?
Kyo did.
All right. All right. I would cry out to my companions, I would step forward and I would shield the people.
No companions because you're here alone, but
Right.
that's enough. And this creature sees you at the same time that like the people see it as well, and like with a horrible snarling look towards you, and then a look towards its prey, the hunger taking over, it leaps. Do you do anything else? When you say shield my people, what does that mean?
So what I would do is I would step up and I would try and hit him with a burst of magic from my friendly implement, not trying to even kill him, and then I would run away, and then to get him away from the people, I'd face swap with him because he's treated as my ally. So it kind of like I could like jump over here, or even like jump over here, over like. I mean, hopefully, well, I can't kill him. This entire plan is about not killing him. There's what is below down here. If he falls,
Spiders.
He's not.
You can tell he's a pretty climby guy. He's got a lot of upper body strength.
Yeah.
Skips leg day though.
Look at those little baby legs.
I think it's perspective.
So okay, then I'd blast him, and I'd see if he followed me. If I tried to
intimidate.
Yeah.
I believe in you. Looking at my DC chart. Ooh, 20? You can do 20. Your intimidate's high.
How far away is he from the rest of us, Steel? Out of curiosity.
It was just Kyvius who was out kind of keeping watch. Oh god. There is just a blast of eldritch energy, and you hope it's not your last one. But even if it is, at least this one counts and matters a little bit. And the blast hits the same time that his form and yours like swap positions immediately, and there is just an immediate moment of surprise and panic in this creature's face as it recognizes you immediately, and then without any kind of like further response, just like snarls and howls at you and jumps back a little bit, and the soldier and the three townsfolk like look terrified, and you can tell like the deserter, he's like, oh god, like I recognize who you are, and they are just looking for like, do we go forward, do we go back, like what do you want, what do we do?
I say, stop! Stay right where you are! Don't move!
Say freeze.
And then I'd say, Sawtooth, leave this place, wander these caves, come back here in 3 days, or face my wrath.
The foam drips in like huge big streaks down the thick jaw of this Oni, and you watch as like the forearms merge back into being two, and it just gets low and gives you a low growl, and then like a weird subterranean creature begins to crawl across the crystals and down into sort of the depths again a little bit. And as soon as this happens, the corners of your vision begin to blur, like something hurts in your mind, but it doesn't do anything more than that. You feel like some kind of gigantic hand wrapped around your head getting ready to squeeze. And the entire time it's like having a migraine in your eyesight, where the world outside of just like a tiny little speck directly in front of you is just a blurry haze, and you can feel yourself being like pulled away almost, but you hold fast.
Did you say there was a...
You can hear the sounds of these people talking and saying something to you, but it's all kind of just blurry and chaotic, and after a moment you manage to regain yourself as they just continue to, like, the words that come out are like, we're sorry, I'm not deserting, I'm just getting them to the other side of the cave, they just want to go home, please let us go. I'll come back, I will serve Dokus Ur for the rest of my life if I have to, says this deserter soldier, and you're just trying to make sense of it all.
And I would say to him, you are free to... I'm through pain and a squeezing, as I'm trying to remember, I put a plan together. I think that I can fix this. You will stay here. You will remain here. You will lay on this cave floor. You are free to go and no one will pursue you. But you must play dead until someone finds you. Upon finding you, then you are free to continue and take these people back home. But I need you in order for this to work. I need you in order for you to live. Oh, my head. I need you to stay here and play dead just for a little while.
The soldier looks up at like the roof of the cave where there's these huge spider webs like draped across it, and the howling sound of the creature below, and he just sort of like gets down to his knees and then like lies on his side and looks up at you and like nods a little bit and just closes his eyes tightly with a grimace on his face, and he's breathing very, very heavy, the husband and the wife like are both very upset with you, but after a moment it's very clear that he's committed to this, and they know the way through the rest of the caves because of his directions, and they moving so much faster than you three did on your first trip through, continue to race forward to not freedom, because on the side lies the Ka and the rocks and what have you, but race forward towards what they think is freedom.
Oh, so they didn't listen to me, they just left?
Oh, do you want all of them to lie down and pretend to be dead?
Yep. Then I'm gonna
Okay.
start dressing them up.
You
Yeah,
finally get to use the theming spell.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no, all four of them. Yeah, they 100% like eyes closed, trust you, and
then I am just
realize
gonna
how close to death they came.
gonna forgo any kind of rest until Kyo gets here, and I'm just gonna hide myself in the shadows and try and withstand the pain.
Okay. You don't have long to wait. It is 8 or 9 hours. I imagine the group notices that you have gone missing, but these are winding, complicated caves, and I imagine that outside of maybe Eerie sending you a message spell, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't think the group would have like pursued you when they know that you're fine and not too far. And 8 or 9 hours later, there is a small group of soldiers and Kiovasan who you can hear them making their way through the tunnels, like torches out, search party ready to go. And the entire time, the shape of Sawtooth has been moving around the rooftop of the cave, just waiting for you to leave, waiting for his easy meal. And there's a couple of times where you're pretty sure he's going to pounce. He's lost, patience for all of this. But eventually, after enough time has passed, you do eventually hear the former general, excuse me, before General Fandon of the Granite Guard and High Helm appear at the top of the cave and looks shocked and takes a few steps forward. And I imagine, Kyvius, you've had the speech prepared for a while. You speak first, despite the pain.
Yeah. And wait, this is Keo, though, right?
It is Kiovasan and like 4 or 5 other soldiers.
And so yeah, I've been thinking about this non-stop ever since they were coming. I'd say, Keo, I cannot explain now. I would have to explain later. But you trusted me to find your husband when Highhelm went away, and now I need you to trust me. You cannot tell anyone I was here. You cannot say anything about ever seeing me. This family was killed by the monster that still roams these caves. You should do what you would normally do with that information and take it back where it belongs.
The conversation's not that short because she protests multiple times. She explains a few times that if she keeps information like this from Warren, he's going to go do something stupid, like decide to recruit the monster in the caves or something. And the conversation goes back and forth a little bit. One of the soldiers that came with her is also fairly annoyed by this whole thing. You hear one of the voices say, "Well, we've been crawling over these caves like hell's half acre, though."
Oh my god.
And despite that, it's very soon that like you can feel your vision, like the hand releasing your skull and your vision coming back to you. You can feel like the world is reasserting itself as Kiovasan is not sure about any of this, but does in fact agree. And despite the family protesting furiously and says that they're going to take it up with King Morgaine about their ability to leave, at some point in time, it is very clear that it is impressed upon them the seriousness that there is to be no breaking of this ruse for reasons that they have no idea about, other than the fact that they came close to death, and then you made them pretend like that happened anyway. Voice of the nation, Morgaine, my apologies. Although at this point in time, who knows? And when they leave, and when you've managed to avoid a lot of the questions that Keo has about why you're sitting in a fucking cave like this alone when she just saw you about 4 or 5 hours previously, you are finally left, and you know that time has finally nearly caught up to where it should be.
And I just stumped, like I'm like exhausted, like head pounding. I just stumble back to my companions and like collapse.
Well, Morgaine would still be up.
Yeah.
If he sees it, he'll sort of run over to him and, Kyvius, what happened? Did you fight a creature?
No, I tried I tried it your way. It hurt a lot. I think I need some sleep.
Oh, okay, you can sleep now. Tell me about it later.
Wait, Warren.
I,
The next time you see Keo, oh, you're asleep. Never mind. I'm going to bed.
no, we'd all be awake by now.
Yeah, the next time you see Keo, you need to let her know that I told you everything, and I'll tell you everything. I just need to close my eyes for like just 20 minutes.
Yeah, longer than that. I'll go find the most complete bed.
They're all real comfy.
You can let him use mine. I tried it for a little bit, but I think I actually like the floor better. It's more like my home.
I might try sitting. Haven't done that in a while.
Galadriel,
Yeah.
Kyvius thinks that he's knows pain. They have never. These beds. Oh my god. Like you'll never get a good night of sleep ever again.
You're such a weak sauce, Galadriel. I could sleep on rock.
But should you sleep on rock?
Bill's character.
An astral
Like-
sheep to build Galadriel's
Like
bed.
a dog announcing that it can eat its own poop without throwing up.
Congratulations, Saigar.
And there's the snark again.
I'm sorry, but there's no accounting for taste.
Sit in the chair with me.
I think it might break just with your weight.
Oh, I was meaning separate chairs.
Oh.
Keep in mind, Morgaine, that wasn't a no. Good note for the future.
Do you spend
Wait.
sort of like the rest of the time down in these caves?
We're hanging out for to get a long rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
A
good.
long rest period
It's,
of time.
It's a long weekend at Vale's. And
I'm
I
going
got
to
that
essentially-
reference. I got that reference.
I mean, I'm going to try to salvage and cook something for the.
The spiders run by, see Kyvius in the window, and someone has to no, the other one.
yeah.
Oh
You guys
god,
do
that
have to,
happens too, as well, doesn't
yeah,
it? Yeah.
I was gonna just say you guys have
Yeah.
to like get
Great.
inside one of the buildings and you watch peeking out from one of the windows.
Yeah.
As
Great.
everybody like with extreme like discomfort makes their way and talk about the entire time. So it's like I'm not fighting spiders. I'm not gonna do it. And Kyvie's just like this is gonna be terrible.
I was told
as
we were
you-
done torturing me after that.
Yeah. As you make your way, the group makes their way over towards the northern cave. Pushes the Gigas out of the way like you remember doing the first time. Shut up. And eventually, after the sounds of battle pitched and screeching and horrible noises from below, you eventually hear the group climbing back up, and Saigar spending the entire trip back talking about how his new spiderweb robe saved the day and how he'll never lose.
And it's true, I still haven't lost it.
And you do finally have a long rest, and you are healed to full, and you know, your daily power is back, and
Can I?
and
do
there is
what-
there is a sharp note that sort of like resonates in the mind of all of you. Not a painful one, but like a loud chime almost, as the past and the present sort of collide finally once more, and you feel like a weird lurch, like you're getting off a ride, and then like a
Steel,
moment of silence.
Before this happens, though, do I have an opportunity to try to repair Morgaine?
During the long rest, absolutely.
And Claire,
I have to
It's
send
in-
messages.
Oh god.
Okay,
I need to send 3.
Oh my god.
I'm
Oh,
excited.
did you want me to while Erie's doing the messages, try to repair Morgaine first? Since it'll be probably hopefully quick.
Let Claire go first.
Whichever
Sure.
order you'd like.
Go for it.
Let Erie go first with the messages.
Okay. The first one, I'm going to try and send it to Avandra.
Okay.
Do you want me to roll for these? Because I have like 10 attempts.
I don't need you to roll for these.
Gotcha.
I do need you to roll your Arcana check to see if you can like get a message to Avandra, though.
That's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
I have like 10 different ritual attempts.
Oh, I see. No, don't worry about it.
Okay, so first one, just real simple. Just trying to do some things.
Apparently the Ka try to see the future by abusing divine guidance. Wouldn't things be more interesting if nobody could be certain about the future?
Mm.
Hmm.
There's no reply.
Fair enough, as I figured. Second one, I'm going to send it to Tisha, because that's a thing.
Uh-huh.
I made it back safely. I hope things aren't too hectic there. Maybe chaos would help you get in touch with your unseelie side. Stay safe.
There is a reply to this one, and it is very, very simply,
What did you do? I'm gonna tell the Queen of Air and Darkness that I volunteer to come and torture.
and then it cuts off.
And the last one, I wanted to try and send it to the Mora, or the Queen of Air and Darkness, whichever one would work.
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
She's not gonna be happy, but I'm excited.
Okay, so
I want to apologize for the actions of a single individual acting for themselves. I beseech thee, spare all those uninvolved directly with his mistake.
Oh boy. There is a reply to that as well. And after a long silence, Kyvius would hate this whole situation much less if he could just jump to the end and read the book.
Fuck me, that's so true.
Is there anything else? Oh, I'm sorry. Saigar, you corner Morgaine in a moment of resignation.
Oh,
And with your arms full of blueprints again, and like you really think you figured out what you did wrong the first time.
So Morgan is just like,
You have one more like eye bulb you will recall. That's probably why Morgaine doesn't see you coming as well. You know his blind side.
everything. I feel what Warren must feel like whenever he fights non-worthy foes, because the moment I think eyes with Stygar, the handful of blueprints, the world slows.
Can you go ahead and give me a craft check?
before I do so, I realize that I can speak Draconic, so I'm going to just kind of mutter something in Draconic.
Nice. Of course you
Just
can.
for fun.
It's actually in my language is known. You can actually check my sheets.
Yeah.
I was already there before.
I've known that for a while.
I forgot I knew.
I know.
He is the Dragon Slayer.
I wasn't sure if that was canon or not. Remember?
Oh, jeez.
Oh!
DC 19, and that is a success.
My God.
All that hard work, all the sweat and toil. I'm sorry, Morgaine. Until now, I've not been able to do it, but I think it's been a success.
Hey, this is weird. This is for reasons that you don't understand the slightest. Ash, would you also go ahead and add 1 point of legacy to your character sheet in addition to becoming permanently trained in craft? Just go ahead and add a little check mark. Morgaine, it works. Like, it actually works. Like, you can see out of both eyes again.
Oh my God. Depth perception. It's been so long.
How are you able to battle until now?
He hasn't been trying to jump over any gaps.
Oh my god, I get to lose that -5?
What was the
Sure.
-5 do?
When I lost my eye, I had a -5 to perception.
For a long time.
For a while.
I'm pretty sure that was since the very beginning of the campaign.
That was when we were leaving Epitaph.
It happened right after the Leviathan fight. He had a rock thrown at him and clang.
Hit my face.
And there's... Please do, please.
All right, cool. I brought this up to you a long time ago.
Oh, God. All right.
You remember the pawn?
Yeah.
The pawn.
And how I wanted to alter the pawn to be able to more accurately display memories to help exchange ideas between people?
Okay.
I want to do that with Kyvius.
I love that. I don't want to do a whole scene of that, but I'm fully into it.
Right. It doesn't really need a scene. It's just like, hey, Kyvius, hey, finally someone's asking you, I had an idea for a magic item. Could you help?
Yes. What are we making?
Yeah, he's got a little like piece from the cursed chessboard.
Ah!
game that
Don't
he's been
touch that! What
hauling
are you doing
around.
touching that?
No, this is an unrelated one. And this piece, this pawn, you understand that there's a basic enchantment upon it that, like, when somebody takes the pawn, they can sort of learn about their opponent in sort of a game of this fool, flame, and fisherman. And he wants to modify it so that its powers are a little bit more enhanced. So it's not just some run-of-the-mill garbage enchant, but rather it actually sort of shows proof of who this person actually is from like little scenes and flickers.
I want to use it so that whenever we're inviting people to our nation, we have essentially a resume, and they can decide whether or not to take the chess piece to become part of this crazy world that's happening.
Oh, so you're talking about using it almost like in the interview process?
Well, other places would be useful too, but mainly.
It seems kind of effective, honestly. I mean, a little bit intrusive. But that's only if you care about things like privacy.
They have to agree. It's an exchange, but yeah.
I like it. I will help you.
Thank you, I don't know what I'm doing.
Neither do I, but I'll still help you.
Can you give me an Arcana check?
30.
Jesus. You'd have to annihilate it.
There's a couple things with a 30 Arcana check. Not only was that a very, very good job, you also know that you could take it a step further. If you actually possessed some of that weird mercurial silver metal that you've seen before that was in like the Crypt of the Kings, for example, that showed you sort of like the worst scenes of somebody's life, you're pretty sure that you could combine a bit of that material along with the pawn to make it something where you wouldn't have to like play a complicated game of fake chess with the person, but rather you could simply touch it and get that same kind of impression about who somebody really is.
Oh, that's a super cool thing for the future if we ever find more of that shit.
We did like, you know how like Saigon. Sorry, you can't hear me because I'm muted. You know how like Saigon like picks up bits and bubbles from like everything. Do you think he has any?
What would you like?
Saigar was standing behind us the whole time.
The guy from Resident Evil 4. What are you buying?
Yeah.
I kind of open my coat and there's like a million things in the inside of my coat. Yes.
I just was currently imagining like Ward and Kyvius like hovered over this chess piece, like enchanting and poking and prodding, and then all of a sudden they jump 3 feet in the air where they find out Saigar was behind them like the whole time.
I'm curious what you guys are up to. What are you even doing?
Well, we're just trying to make something useful. But did we in your little pockets? Did you ever collect some of the, those god awful mirrors?
The what?
The ones that basically, the ones that told us all the horrible things that we ever did.
Oh, back during the sins.
Yeah. Did you ever, pick up a
I
piece?
did grab a little shard.
Did you really?
I did, but I'm not sure it's actually very useful. It was just a sliver. That'd be enough?
You
I
said you
punched
grabbed
one.
a little fucking vial of the shit.
Not fire.
Which would probably be sufficient.
Let's Warren. Do you need it? Could we use it?
It would certainly make this process a lot easier because as it stands now, if we want to do the exchange, I have to set up a chessboard, teach someone how to play well enough that the piece thinks it's a good enough game for it to actually work. Makes it take an hour instead of like a minute. Be more convenient.
May we have it?
I'm gonna have it over to you, Tavius.
All right.
It's all yours.
It's still,
you know what we just did, Warren? We just made it so he's never gonna, like, if the fact that this was useful and that was like 20 years ago, he's not gonna stop picking everything up.
Listen, the fact that Mother Dearest's finger worked in the statue has already cemented this.
You're
So
right.
there's nothing
You're right.
to possibly
Yep.
do
You know what?
to change my opinion on
All
it.
I'm saying is we can't make fun of him for this anymore. This is the sacrifice we have to make for your magic item, Warren.
yeah, it's you
No,
know. It's
you're
gonna
right.
help.
We're totally still gonna make fun of him for it. No. Let's not be
No,
ridiculous
the
here.
conditions. I actually hand you a sheet of paper, the terms and conditions of this thing.
I think he learned something in the Feywild about deals.
Yeah, Galad approves.
Tavius, thou shalt not make fun of my collecting of baubles and trinkets, like you say.
Your hoarding of weird and strange items from every single thing you come across.
It comes in handy when you least expect it.
That may be the case, but you know I have a difficult time controlling my mouth.
This just to check with Steel also, this would still work in where, like, if I want to share my personality and memories with someone else.
Yes, very much so.
Oh, super
Okay.
cool.
That's the main one.
Okay. Cavius, do you still want it to look like a pawn?
Oh, can I change the way it looks?
Well, if you're adding this weird, like, mercurial metal that can kind of shift and move to it, I imagine it's no longer going to be like that yellow brass trinket, but probably something that's metallic and then probably reshaped slightly as well.
Yeah. So what I would, so could I, I mean, I don't know if there's enough material, but I do like a couple of accents. Just a couple of small accents. I'd give it like 2 arms, because it look like a normal pawn, like that weird pawn shape.
Yeah.
All right, I'd give it 2 arms. One is a real-looking arm, and one is a little flowy, liquidy arm thing.
Nice.
And I would give it a halo.
Oh, cool. So it's a Warren voodoo doll.
Yes,
All right.
it is a Warren voodoo doll.
That I love that because every time I give it to someone, I have to explain why it looks like a smaller version of me. Like
you've effectively taken off years of his life.
Listen. I'm just trying to make it cute.
Also, in some ways, calling Warren a pawn.
Oh my god, you people read far too much into everything.
It could have been worse. You could have made it like a rook and then it would represent Morgaine.
Kyvius makes a ring. He says I can only build this because of the friendship we've experienced together. I am rejected. Kyvius makes a doll, makes it look like Warren so that it's cute and he loves it. Everyone thinks he's calling him a pawn.
Dogs are so
I mean,
misunderstood.
aren't you?
Glad thinks everything is, you know. Never mind. It's fine. You made it. You just choose what to do.
You're damn right I did. It works well too, because I rolled really high.
Yeah. you're gonna make my plan of convincing Kana a hell of a lot smoother.
Oh God, you didn't say you were trying to do something with Kane here. You're going to bring Morgaine, right? You're going to need some kind of
Yeah,
protection.
no, Morgan has to come, or I could die. That's important.
Yeah, okay, great, excellent.
It's just, if we're gonna offer her the chance to choose between her kingdom and ours, she should know what we actually stand for with no bullshit in between. This is the most honest way I can present it. And maybe, she'll agree to let me see what she stands for.
That is an
Maybe.
interesting and unusual strategy, and I would expect nothing less from you. No, that was a compliment!
No, I appreciate it. No, I smiled. I don't get compliments on my decisions very often. Less now, I think. Can't tell why.
Yeah, you know, it'd be like coming up to me and saying, hey, could you maybe enchant this sword and make it +10? I want to hand it to Kana when I have a conversation with her. Because that's the kind of plan I was expecting, but this is better.
I mean, if we do fight, she should get an equal weapon to the one I can pull out of the sky now. So, maybe.
You know, I'd really hate to interrupt this, but something's going on in our kingdom, and it might be bad. I don't know. We should probably hurry back right now.
What? Something's going on?
What happened?
I don't know. Vale just says, asked us where you are, and kind of might be a bit annoyed. So, probably a good idea to head back.
Did you say Vale just passed by?
Messaged you?
Oh, Vale
We've been
messaged you.
Texting.
Well,
You've been texting. Great. Yes, we should definitely go back then.
all right. It'd be nice to touch base anyway.
To circle back, if you will. To check in. Make sure he's not out of pocket.
Can't believe it's technically been less than a day. It feels like we've been gone for a month.
Get out of here.
Because we were quite literally gone for a month.
Oh yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Half of that time was spent as statues standing around a lake.
I hope I forget that someday.
Yeah, me too. We're walking and talking.
You make your way through the winding paths of the Stair of Penance. The name, for some of you, more accurate than for others. And Warren doesn't notice the shape of pupil bodies that are sort of like pressed down in the ground, where the exact spot where Kiovasan had met with you, Kyvius, and also the exact same location that Karna was shot. And you step back out into the beautiful, vibrant, bright light of the city of Dokus Ur, and you can see that there's the 2-3 dozen buildings now. The hospital that you had begun to commission is nearly finished at this point in time, and you can see that there is some kind of pulley system stretched across the opening of the mass cavern, where there are a couple of crowds of people. Some of them are protesting, some of them are just doing what's being told, and you can see that they are lowering buckets of gold coins down into the chasm below. And people look like they are working as hard as ever, if not perhaps a little harder than they were when you had left. You realize it's only been about like a day and a half since you had first traversed to the forest, which already, now looking upon it, you can see that the beautiful colors of the woods that bloomed in the kingdom are already fading and becoming like autumn oranges and sickly grays, as the forest in the entirety begins to just wilt away. And you know that your personages have really just left like a day ago rather, and you remember that one full day where you were in the Feywild, came back, and all of this must have been going on kind of within hours of you leaving, within a day of you leaving. And we're going to take a quick 10-minute break and be back.
All right.
Still has also made a canon that sending you can send emoticons.
Oh no!
Type of face did Vale send you?
Wait till he lets you unlock Nitro and you can send custom emoticons.
Oh, true. Send animated GIFs.
Oh, how many words do those take up?
8.
I'm gonna have to upgrade my data.
All right, I'll see you guys back at 40. Hey, I'm bad at time. Do we have an hour 20?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct.
Is Vale gonna realize that we went on a time traveling escapade and gonna yell at us?
I don't know if realize or already knows is the right word.
It's gonna have those parent sit down talks where where he's like, listen, I know kingdom building seems like the cool thing to do, but when you make a commitment, you have to commit.
What about like, hey, why are you guys fucking up my trees? They were nice.
Small PSA to folks, if you use the Epic's Game Store right now, GTA 5 is free, and if you download it for free, you get a free $15 coupon to use for the next game. And then, yeah.
Nah, you literally couldn't pay me to use Epic Game Store, though.
Oh, come on, seriously.
No, seriously, you could literally, I would not take money to download that software.
But you literally get like 6 games for like $4.
I literally want 0 games, and I'll give them my $15.
I don't understand this aversion.
That's saying something, because I'm like, hey, Stellaris is like super cheap right now, and Steel's like, I don't want to spend money. So that should show you.
Well, it's not about spending money. It's about like, why do you hate Epic's Game Store so much?
First of all, I have too many games already. I don't need any more. My backlog.
Listen, GTA 5 is free.
Cool. It's a free game that I'll never play.
It's a fantastic game.
Life is too short to fill my life with GTAs when I can play Ni no Kunis.
Okay, fine. For anybody who not named Steel, here's
Uh-huh.
a PSA. You can keep daisy chaining the coupons because
are you actually playing Ni no Kuni?
Yeah.
Revenant?
It's very good. It's real good.
All right, fine. Don't take my PSA.
Can I
We appreciate the PSA.
Can I make a statement that only Steel would normally make?
Yeah.
Are you playing Nino Kuni because you left a review on Trails of Mana and somebody recommended it to you in the comments?
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's my Steel statement of the day. That, like, why do you know that sort of information?
No, I like it. I think it's near one of the top reviews now. Fucking, I was trying to leave like
It's
some
not
embarrassing
near.
personal shit.
It's not near. It is by a landfall.
Oh, okay, cool.
I was hoping
Steele's
that
review
story
of Trials of Mana, really?
Yeah, it's the top review by like 100,000 miles.
Yeah, it's a top review right now.
I was hoping that story ended with Wild saying he was the one that left that review or that comment.
Oh, that'd be so good. Now I would have been played.
No, not quite. I'm not that level. That's a Warren move. I'm not that smart.
Oh, you know what I should do while we're having the break here? It's not worth it, right? It doesn't matter. Just go ahead and toss you guys some magic item cards for the stuff you got.
Oh.
Right, it was a regular sword, but
Yeah, then your review has 176 people who thought it was helpful, and the next highest has 10.
Cool.
So, you know.
oh, interesting.
Whoa, too many things showed up.
That's the one everybody wanted to see.
They both suck. But
I
they
don't
are.
know. That apple pretty good. Well, pretty okay. For a
Can we
free
pass
item.
that memorial shard around?
No one really uses rituals in this group, though.
No, I'm gonna make a note here that it has to be like it can't be changed, and every daily rest, we'll call it. I'll make a change right now.
But we can
Once
pass around
a
every
day.
daily rest, basically.
That's pretty good.
Is that correct, then, Steel? Like, after every long rest, we can exchange hands?
Yeah.
Okay.
Using Second Wind requires you to spend 3 surges and get a second. Oh, minor action. Oh my god, Morgan, you might have something to do with your surges.
But if he was a dwarf, it would be worthless. It would just cost him more healing surges, right?
I'll give you a second one.
I don't actually know what the deal with dwarves is, but when I was reading the Warlord guide, there was like half of my powers were pretty neat but useless for dwarves, and I didn't understand the concept.
Dwarves get a lot of things.
Dwarves are weird in 4th edition, man. They're so good, though.
Is this your
They've just
plus
got,
2
like,
more game?
A lot of one-off features.
So
I
much better than
guess.
those stinky Eladrins.
I'll just go ahead and toss those into the shared inventory for now.
I don't feel like it'd be the best used by you.
Technically, it belongs to Kyvius.
True,
That's
but you
just
also
not.
use swords.
He doesn't need more things.
Actually, you know what? You're right. I don't need more things, but I feel like Eerie has too many things. We should take a couple things away from him, Steel.
I feel that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I believe in the Feywild you can get blood from a stone. Gallad?
That is correct.
You make your way slowly down the mountain path. You recall that basically leaving the... I'm going to go ahead and grab it, actually. Leaving the actual cave itself, the Stair of Penance, is a bright and beautiful and vibrant experience where the last couple of tunnels past this icy crystalline cave where your pitched battle against your foes took place, it just opens up immediately into soft rolling hills and the sunlight hits you immediately. And even though you can tell the town is hard at work, probably more so than ever before for some reason, and there are very clearly groups of people who are frustrated by what's going on, there's nothing immediately wrong in the city.
Oh my god, it's not on fire. I've been having these dreams where the whole thing was just on fire.
Right, but Erie did say that there's something wrong going on, so what exactly is it?
Well,
Yeah,
Vale said that there was something wrong. That's
he
open
asked
to
where
his
we were.
interpretation.
okay, well, if there is something truly wrong, Morgaine, you better take this sword and equip it right now.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I know it's mine and all, but really, I'd like you to have it.
From one king to another, huh? Almost poetic in a way.
Like me again. Like
Reel it in, Kyvius.
That really got me.
God.
That was very desperate, Cavius.
yeah,
Very desperate.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did you hear that? That was
Was that the inside voice going outside?
That was listen, I messed with time. Weird things.
Sure, just blame it on the Feywild. Haven't had enough of that.
But you did do a good job back in High Hill. So
Thank you.
good job.
Reel it in, Morgaine.
Onward, make sure there's no fire.
I just can't get it out of my head. The sound of guys saying "like me," and it's just so funny. I'm trying to recover. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Onward.
should.
Were these trees here the last time, or these grow
Yeah.
like? Oh.
There's a
We
couple
just
more
never saw
flowers
this
that have
map
grown.
last time.
You just have to remember that like Saigar and I
You
only
did.
got to spend about half
No, you
a
never showed
second
us this map.
outside of the
Uh,
cave.
No, you definitely did because there was a scene where Karna and Morgaine were on this map previously.
I thought we went. Oh, I think you're right. Yeah. Because I
I'm
know we
always
had
right.
the one in the middle of the flowers. I thought we went straight to that one.
As we're walking, I say the only things I could think of is that supposedly our land and the Feywild are extremely closely overlapped here, so we're probably going to be feeling the ripples of wrath for a few days or
A
longer.
few days, a few millennia, who can really say?
Yeah, we'll find out.
Timey-wimey, am I right?
It's just time.
You know fun. You come from the fun part of the Feywild, but you're really no fun.
Well, time isn't the part about the Feywild.
No, I'm just saying you specifically, Galad, are no fun.
Well, why don't you indulge me later tonight, when the introductions begin?
Oh my god, we have to explain that we brought back an Eladrin.
Oh, that's right.
Well,
Whoops.
How are we going to explain Galadriel?
Well, okay. First, let's find out if our kingdom still exists.
Yeah,
Yes, and
What's
then
the-
we'll worry about
One foot in
introductions.
front of the other, as they say.
I would also like to fix Karna's back if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, can we focus on one thing at a time? Not 18 at once.
Erie, please, yes. If only I could help lead us
Look, there's a
forward.
bird over there. Should we go catch it?
I could eat it.
I have some theories about the rippling, lasting impacts of Kyvius' decision in the Feywild.
Not the time, Galadriel. Not the time. And Morgaine, do not worry. I have an idea for Karna, but we can wait till later.
Pardon?
Well,
Sorry, you cannot collect
going.
pieces of Karna, Saigar.
No. I have an idea to help Karna. We can talk about that later. I think we gotta check on our kingdom first.
Warren has the thing to help her back.
hopefully.
Might be able
I
to
think-
assist him. That's all I meant.
Oh, okay.
There's not a lot of like military patrolling today, which is unusual. There's also seems like there's a small gathering that like Kyo is responsible on the sort of the far side of the kingdom, like they're paying respects or something of that nature. And it seems like there's an awful lot of people outside the actual hospital itself, like not like in a commotion kind of way, but in a just that there's something happening kind of way. But the other thing that's noteworthy is that as you sort of approach the actual kingdom proper, you can see that there are people who have like wooden buckets and kettles and things of that nature that they have basically pulled out of the trash heap that was Highhelm and are being passed through the kingdom with people like emptying their pockets and pulling out pouches of gold and just emptying their wealth into these buckets. Many with a great amount of frustration and disagreement, but it very quickly becomes clear that like this is the word that's come down from the leaders of Dokkathor, and so people are following orders.
What the hell?
Immediately run to investigate the end of this trail.
Where the buckets go.
Castellan is not too far. He is wringing his hands next to one of the nearby buildings that's opened up, and when he sees you, he smiles brightly.
What's going on here, Castellan?
And just thrilled, he says, Morgan, do you notice anything different about me? He gives you like the expected look, like, yeah, you do. And you look him up and down.
Just flexing that perception.
Cause he can now?
Yeah.
No.
2 inches taller, he says. Moradin approves.
That's fantastic. Why is everyone handing their money in?
It is fantastic. It means that little Leaf might not be a little squirt all her life. Well, the money's because Saigar said so.
Head whips around to Saigar.
Everyone's head? Yeah.
Wait, what did I tell you, Castellan?
Well, not me personally, but word's been going around. You said
About
that
what exactly?
since the kingdom won't be using proper money anymore, it's all to go be tossed in the pit.
I said no such thing.
Wait, it wasn't just money, it was gems and jewelry and necklaces and what have you. And I wanted to talk to you about that, Saigar, because I may have made a stupid mistake.
You think?
Not her wedding ring. Not your wedding ring.
I took it literal. And I know I'll be sleeping on the couch for a little while.
Oh no, no!
Oh god. I'm gonna go look at this. You keep talking to Castellan.
Yeah, it.
What exactly did you do, Castellan?
Or you said everything, and the missus was out, and
this is not what I asked anybody to do.
Where's the trail of buckets going? Does it happen to be going into Vale's pit?
Giant
Vale's
chasm.
hole.
Oh, good fucking lord.
Yeah,
Go over that way.
I thought so.
There are volunteers who have like started the process. You can very, very clearly see that they like have these long stretches of rope where they're just lowering buckets of gold and wealth down into the pit. Some people are protesting anger. There's people who are of the militia who are like trying to keep the peace a little bit and assure them that you have a plan. It's not lost. It's just being stored.
I'm going to run over and stop that immediately.
Temporary
Yeah, absolutely. There's
setback.
when you get to the edge, like they have just cut the rope for one of the other buckets, and you can just hear it like thump down to the base.
Can I? I know you're gonna laugh. Can I try to fire an arrow to grab it?
Of course.
I'm going to use my daily on my my chest armor.
Okay.
I'm going to quickly unravel my like a spider web rope, and I'm gonna attach an arrow to it. I'm gonna fire it at the bucket.
Yeah, hang on for a second. Just gonna change to a picture real fast.
How heavy is a bucket of gold?
So when I say chasm,
I understand it's very large, and keep in mind the.
But his
the
arrows are
rope
really large too, Steel.
oh no, yeah, I'm sure it'll be a real good shot. Yeah, go ahead and give her a little arrow tink.
He equipped his extendo arrows today.
Yeah, the bucket is at the very bottom of this castle already, but
no. Before it gets thrown, like I'm saying.
no, it's already at the fucking bottom. It's been lowered down as you get there. I'm setting the scene, right?
Like in the lava?
No, there's
so
a
not
bunch
the
of, like,
bottom.
not the very bottom, but like down into sort of like the depths
How
of the cave.
many
It's
feet
gonna
are we
just
talking
drop.
about here, approximately?
A long
700-800?
Fuck.
A long way.
Yeah.
All right, never mind. I thought I was
Yeah.
gonna. I was trying to hit it mid flight.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to sort of show you the picture. It is like 6 or 7 city blocks wide, this chasm.
All right.
And
Well, I'm gonna
you
put a
run up there
stop to it.
immediately and like, what are you fucking doing? And like trying to get people to stop, and they do immediately stop. And like, our orders different, Your Highness.
First off, I'm not Your Highness. And second, I didn't ask anybody to abolish.
Give it. Don't. Just let's figure out what's going on first. We don't want to incite panic by
I'm
giving.
absolutely
orders.
livid. Like I'm so angry at this point. Like you can literally see like veins throbbing on Saigar's face.
All the money's still here. Everything's here. Let's just figure out what's going on.
There's
People are trying to cast it away. They completely missed the message of what I was trying to say.
They're also, a lot of them are wearing like the little like pins and sigils that you put out for like sort of like the special favorites that you 100% didn't give them out to these people. The ones who were invited to like the Sunday breakfast.
Eerie,
Yeah.
you go send a.
Yes.
Can you go send a message to Vale real quick?
I'll get right on that.
What
Luckily, I'll
exactly-
use my free sending of the day to send Vale a message.
Hey, we're here. Where are you? Never mind. We'll come to you. Don't move. Winky face.
It probably doesn't surprise you, but when you sort of like assess his location, you discover Vale's precise location is in a chair in your home facing away from the door.
Oh god, it's gonna just like super villain turn
Yeah.
around.
Claw. Is he,
Oh,
stroking,
I
is he
mean-
stroking a cat?
We were gone a day and a half. He was probably trying to run things while we were gone. Let's head back.
Do
You know
we
he
do
can
we
look
know?
like
Are we certain he's the one that gave the instruction?
he can look like any of us if he wants.
Okay.
I
People
most
are-
definitely did not give this
Gold
instruction, so I'm not sure who else would have.
No, but
Sorry,
but you're right. But remember, there's been a little bit of railing by us against the structures of common society. I think money and inequality might have been mentioned on several occasions. It's possible.
could be.
It's possible he may have just misinterpreted what our intentions
We-
were.
Literally haven't talked to him since we started the kingdom. Literally not once. So,
What a
We sh-
cute map.
Wonderful.
oh,
this is a cute map.
look at our little village.
Also,
We're all living in
and
wood
he's gonna
huts.
whisper to Sai. He's just gonna sort of. Morgan's gonna walk up to Saigar and go lean down and it's like, "You're gonna have to spend a week to just figure this out."
Wait, say that again, Morgan?
You're gonna have to spend like a week to figure this out because we can't have people throwing away all their money.
No, I never asked anybody to throw away their money or their like
You get what I'm
possessions.
saying here, right? Like you need to be very specific on what people need to be doing with it.
No, I agreed. I don't remember giving them any instructions. Period.
Yeah, but that clearly doesn't work.
Understood.
In other words, he's saying maybe there should have been an instruction.
Yes, I'm starting to see that, Fabius. Thank you.
No problem. Happy to help interpret for you, Morgaine.
Kind of glare at like I give Fabius like probably the worst death glare I've given him this entire campaign.
Yeah, but only half a death glare because like you've only got one eye, so it really is only about half as effective.
Like a
I
weird,
mean, I only got one eye.
Your other's all
One.
mangled and covered in tissue paper.
What?
Or like a bandana, whatever you call it.
I've got a scar and my eye still functions.
Right. Oh, that's nice. Sorry, I thought it was all like shot out.
No, I just kind of take off the bandana and glare at you with full force.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
it's only when he wants to unleash his true power does he unleash the power of blue eyes.
When you get closer to your own little abode, you can very clearly see. Don't bother. I'm going to come down and like confront you on the actual ground floor there.
Not like he's saying confront.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to chat to you friendly on this open little battlefield style area here that I've set out. And you can see that like his little big bulbous yellow froggy eyes peer up out of the front window, and then after a moment of like fiddling with your door, he actually like leaves your building and like hops down and just runs down to where you guys are located. And you notice that this area is very empty. There is no one here, and it is it's very apparent that people have been told to leave. And there are no like guards or soldiers nearby, and Vale just comes running down and goes, "Oh my gosh, my highnesses! Are you all okay? I was so worried!"
Yeah, I got your message. Well, you said something was wrong. Was that just the people throwing away all the money, or was there something else?
What? Oh, that's fine. But we need to talk.
Yeah, that seems
Yeah?
about on track. What's
We can, just the 30 seconds. Do you know about the people throwing away the money out of curiosity?
Yes, I did that.
Yeah, I thought
You
so,
did
yeah.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
May I ask why?
I sit down on the ground.
I will answer any questions you have, and we need to talk, but we need to talk openly. Aren't you forgetting something?
Hello?
Hi.
No, aren't you forgetting to dismiss someone? And he looks at you, Galadriel.
No, he's part of us now.
He's part of our group.
Vale's expression darkens for a split second. And then he says, "Oh, hello, who are you?"
Hello, my name is Galadriel.
"Hello, Galadriel. I am Vale, and I'm sure they have told you lots about me. So I am very, very sorry that your first impression of me is going to come across as a little bit impatient. As we get to know one another, you will come to learn that I'm not normally like this. But they have been pushing me around a little bit recently, and I need to speak my mind."
Oh, please.
We have been pushing you around?
And he gives you a look that you don't really know how to describe. And he says, "It didn't bother me when you didn't say thank you after you saw this beautiful paradise that I made for you. That I carved for you with my bloody webbed hands and my regular frog breath over several years of nonstop labor. And it didn't bother me when you started talking about advisors and you didn't ask me if I wanted the position. And it didn't bother me that you picked the least qualified people for the job without even asking me for my opinion.
But didn't you tell us that you just wanted to be a normal life? We thought,
That's true,
wouldn't
yes.
those things just impose too much on you?
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. But it did bother me a teensy little bit that when you were directing your builders to put together a hospital, you couldn't even spare a single thought for me, for my comfort. You couldn't say, "Vale, even though we've completely abandoned our promise about naming the very first street after you, is there anything that you would like?" But I think this crosses the line a little bit. You left in the dead of night without telling me where you were going. And then you just completely abandoned the kingdom without a word. Do you realize how that felt? Friends don't do that to one another.
Oh, we left because of the kingdom.
But you didn't say anything.
I wasn't aware we needed to check in with you. I thought we were trusting of each other.
We are, but what happens if you died? What happens if you didn't come back?
And the people would govern themselves.
No, they can't. They need... That's what the deal was. I would make this. You would lead them
I
so
think,
that I didn't have to.
yeah, I think there's been some sort of miscommunication here because I didn't know what part of this you wanted. Like, you kind of presented us this whole place, and it was like, okay, now go. I mean,
I assumed it would be common sense that you would include me.
You didn't sound like you wanted to be included.
We
But
want
it's
to give
nice
you
of
your
friends
space.
to ask.
and
I thought I was
of
giving
course,
you I thought I was being nice not to ask and not to force you into an obligation.
You know that I made a promise to not get involved. But I know that you're used to this adventuring lifestyle, and I know that we're going to work together to resolve that. You know, after a few years. But for you to just vanish without so much as ascending from Erie a week into our project, with people still homeless and enemies at our gates? Do you know what kind of position that puts me in? Forcing me to break my vow to not get involved? But somebody had to. Somebody had to make decisions when you abandoned your responsibilities.
Weren't we gone for like a day?
Yep.
Yes. You guys,
day and a half.
remember the realization. We're dealing with a nice guy. This is yeah. Master Bullywug, you are correct, and I do have to say, we are relatively new at this ourselves, and we're going to make mistakes, and really, we should have depended more on your guidance and sought your guidance to make sure that we didn't commit any errors like we may have. You should know we had the kingdoms and our creations, our best intentions at heart as we set out to defend it from, well, what we saw as potential threats to its burgeoning state, but you are in fact right. We may have made an error, and it wouldn't have been a bad idea to check with you first.
Can you roll diplomacy for me?
Yeah.
Can I assist by saying, and of course I didn't forget our promise to name a street after you. We just don't have any signs yet. The one that's
Or
closest,
streets even.
Haven't even made any roads.
the one that's closest to us is going to be named after you, and already has been. And I'd like to spend a hero point for us to have done that.
I believe that. I think Born would have done that for sure.
Yeah. He meant it. We don't have any signs. None of the streets have names.
You see that he softens a little bit with both of this, and he says, "Okay, we're gonna work together on all of this, and I know that mistakes can be made. I just think we need some ground rules. So
help.
So starting immediately, what I would like is for you to just something small. Send a check-in through Erie every half an hour or so, just so I know that you're not doing anything.
Yeah, I told you, it's a
that
fucking
would
nice
further
guy.
jeopardize our friendship. And I forbid you, and he points to Gladrian, from discussing our relationship and bringing new people into the fold to complete strangers without my approval first. I think that's not too much to ask.
You know you're asking me to spend half of my life casting Sending to talk to you, right?
It only takes a second to give me peace of mind.
We're not as the check-ins are possible. We're not actually as capable as you with magic, so we can't do it every 30. We're actually not capable of doing it every 30 minutes.
That's an excellent point, Warren. And given that your ability so surpasses ours, Master Bullywug, would you maybe like to construct an artifact or an item that we could communicate with you through? That way you could check in with us anytime.
Vale takes like an odd half step back, like he's not quite sure to respond to that, and then we could maybe find magic items from the people here and use that residium.
Well,
we'll solve problems, is what I'm saying. We'll work together.
Right. I think Saigar has some more to say about that, but given that the populace that we have brought here, we want to make them happy and healthy, and we kind of need them because they're building our city for us.
Yes, of course.
Many of them didn't seem very pleased to be losing their possessions.
Wow. Oh, that was just a two birds with one mouthful sort of situation. Sagar said he didn't want money anymore, and I wanted a bed.
I didn't say that, sir.
He did lose his hoard.
Oh my god. What counts as comfort for a dragon? Sorry, go ahead, Sagar, that really got me.
Okay, well, we can figure it out. We can use something that's not gold. We could maybe find wooden tokens or something. Again, the point is that we'll solve problems together. But these are decisions that I had to make when you're not here.
And I understand that. I just can we put a pause on things like this for now?
Yes, I think that. And he pauses and then looks at the sword at your waist, Morgan, and points to it and says, "What's that?"
That's what we were up to.
Is that from High Helm?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to give that to me.
Do you want to explain the writing on it?
I've never read it. He takes a few steps forward and looks at it.
Are you lying to me?
His eyes flash. He says, "I've been nothing but honest with you since the day that we met." No, that's not true. I did deceive you about being an outcast from a Bullywug tribe. And now that you know what happened the last time I told somebody the truth about me, I'm sure that maybe you can agree that one little white lie was for a good reason.
You know, I'm surrounded by a lot of smart people and a lot of wise people. And I feel the smarter and wiser you get, sometimes you forget the simple things. That lies of omissions are still lies.
When you first came here and we sat down together and talked, I answered every question you had, and I will tell you anything else you want to know. But there's so much to know. What do you want, Morgan? We're on the same page. We're going to build a city. We're going to do it for the people of this island.
Are we building the city for them or you?
Why can't it be for both? Why can't it be for everybody? Why can't everybody get what they want?
Because while that can happen, priorities still need to be in place. So when the chips are down, who will you prioritize? Yourself or them?
There's another long silence, and he says, "There's always going to be more people. And there's always going to be unhappy people no matter what we do. The goal is always to make as much good for as many people as possible. And that includes me, and that includes you.
I've had this conversation before. And maybe you'll understand it better than she did at the time. It's not about the path you choose. It's about how you walk it.
I think that you should give me the sword, and after I read it later, we'll talk about what it says. And I think that because I've never asked for a single thing from you. I didn't even fight you when it came to the lamp. But that deserves to be in my collection. That deserves to be an apology present from you to me.
I thought that you weren't upset about the lamp.
I'm not upset about the lamp. I think that you need to show that you're sorry.
Well, it is yours. I always wanted to give your stuff back to you. So here you go.
Just like the helmet, he takes it easily and puts it on the ground nearby and smiles at you and says, "Thank you, Morgaine! You're a good friend!" I wish it wasn't a sword, though. I can't even use it. Ah!
I wonder. I don't know. That would get us off topic. I was just gonna ask, like, at the time, what led you to want to found High Helm, if I can ask? Is it similar to this?
Well, he says, I just wanted to do something nice for Erithus. She saved me, when I was just a little tadpole. He gives another look at Galadriel. I didn't like everything being the same. I'm glad we're doing something new.
Yeah. I also kind of understand what you mean about why can't the things that you want to do be good for everyone.
That's so true. I know you understand me, Warren. I know all of you do. Galadriel, I know that you and I will be friends in time, too. Well, I've been worried sick for a few days. Until we figure out the solution, Eerie, I expect those messages every hour. We'll get off that in time. Few weeks.
I can't do that.
You're kings! You'll figure it out! You're very smart. And he gives you like a little like finger poke, finger wiggle in the air.
But
Sagar,
can we be in agreement that if we ever do go somewhere again for some period of time, even if it's just a day, you won't start going around the city trying to enact what you thought we had wanted to have done without at least asking us first?
Eerie, if you had just told me you were leaving, I would have done whatever you wanted. This is your fault. I didn't want to be involved. I'm going to go see if people are following my instructions and staying away from the cave. I've been up for days, worried sick. And we'll talk soon, Morgaine, I promise!
Master Bullywog, could you do us one small favor?
Anything you want in the world, Sagar!
Could you retrieve all the items that the poor people here may have dropped off into the chasm?
The personal belongings, at least. I think the gold might actually be safer down there.
I would be happy to.
let's say, we'll circle back around on it. You focus on things here, and when I have managed to tidy up down there a little bit, I'll organize and I'll bring up the important things in a few months. It's a lot of gold.
As Warren said, could it be possible to bring up the personal belongings sooner than that? The gold can wait.
I didn't really have them organize it, but I promise you, Saigar, I will when I'm down there. I'll figure it out. But until then, I am going to have a nap. Thank you all for understanding. Morgaine, don't be so rude next time. I don't like this implying that I've been dishonest with you. That's not how friends treat one another.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad you're all back. This has been a big relief. When you're ready to figure out what's next, you tell me and I'll do what I can to help.
And
And he goes,
just as he goes to leave and he's just almost out of earshot, the dam breaks and Morgaine goes, "Did you bring the car here?"
he turns back and he says,
It sounds like you're trying to fight, Morgaine. I don't want to fight with you.
No, I'm just trying to find answers.
Okay. Well, I think what you're saying is that I bring the car here knowing that they'd be the people they are. And the answer is no. I didn't bring anybody here to fight. Yes, I introduced another group of people to this wonderful place because a civilization that's worthy of Erithus would be people from all different walks of life and all backgrounds and nationalities working together in harmony. That's what a city is. And yes, sometimes I admit that I can be a poor judge of character. But just like the violent nature in the people in Epitaph, you have welcomed them to your city because you assume the best in people. And I did the same thing when I brought them to this island. It's the nature of your limited species to squabble. And even though I've done everything to put a stop to that, it'll still happen sometimes. I spent decades wasting my time correcting their methods, undoing my mistakes, instead of working here.
Was
If
that
the- Go ahead.
sorry? Was that why you enacted the plan to sign the Concord of Peace to buy you time for this project instead of having to fix messages?
No, it's because if the lords of the Ka had their way, they would have murdered the king and marched on High Helm a long time ago, and the bodies of the dead would fill the Opal Trench and stain the seas red. But instead, they had a mysterious friend that guided them towards a decade of peace.
and he smiles like he's very proud of himself.
And if it hadn't been for you all getting kidnapped by the Ka to begin with as kids, you wouldn't be here to make a difference. Life is full of little challenges that help us grow as people.
It is different when you can look at the world from a perspective of multiple generations instead of just your own.
That's
Why aren't you letting anyone leave?
people can leave. It's just hard. And that's another great question that I want to answer, but I think we need to build up some trust first. So we're going to put a pin in that. We're going to circle back in a couple years. We're going to talk about it. I promise. Once you've taken the time to sort of see the way that I see things, I think we'll have more in common to understand.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
if I came across rude, it's unsettling. In every place we go to, we hear your name. In one form or another.
I try to keep it secret.
Secrets have a habit of finding us.
For me, as a friend, you can see why that would make me think you're hiding things.
I
If
know.
everywhere
I'm
we
not.
go.
I'm
Okay.
really not. I'll be honest with anything you need. I promise. You're my best friends in the world. You need to learn a lesson about this. There's boundaries in this relationship. He turns to leave again. And then after a moment says, Cavius!
Yes, Master Bullywug.
I like your eyeball!
Thank you, Master Bullywug. I like my eyeball too. No, never mind. Wait, no, I'm doing it. I've been waiting for this.
Oh.
And maybe just like a little creepily, like the eye kind of starts moving on its own accord, and almost like I'm trying to show off, but like I'm trying to show off my new eye to him. But what I'm really doing is just studying him, head to toe.
Okay.
Because damn it, where do I? Okay, bottom.
Is this a new thing you've got?
No.
Oh.
This is an old thing we have.
What? Huh.
Ha ha.
Okay.
So I just
What's
study
the
him.
half of 1,000,000 damage?
I don't know. I just figure it'll come in handy someday.
I
Is
can
he
see what
aware
he
of this
did.
Oh,
action?
I didn't
Meg.
see the card.
Oh, it's the same one that you did with Cerothine, which is you're permanently marked. Kyvius has him perma-marked, and he does half damage to Kyvius forever.
Okay.
There's a long moment between the two of you, and after a moment, Vale says, Kyvius, remember when we first met, you didn't trust me because you knew I was a dragon?
That is correct, yes.
You've always been the smartest person I know. Kyvius,
Yes.
when we first met, do you know how I knew that, I guess the second time we met, that the lamp was outside?
No, I've always wondered that.
It's because you told me. But you don't remember. Because I did that. And he points up at the sky. It's all about building things, Cavius. That's what I'm saying. Making things better.
I think if there's one thing that I've learned about you, that is truly your most honest and trustworthy statement is that it really is all about building things.
It really is. Let's not fight ever again, guys, okay?
That's
I would.
most of my friendships are built on fighting, but it should be constructive.
He nods. He says, Warren, I think you beat me. Also, just a reminder, 10 minutes. Okay, bye. He turns to go.
What?
For what?
Until the 30-minute check-in.
Yeah. What did he say about the howl?
The modified
Kyvius?
memory.
I got this, Erie. I got this. Just let me know when it's the 10-minute mark.
Got what?
I didn't understand that. Wait, did you understand that? Modified
What did
memory?
Yeah, he's putting out the howl. It's his giant modified memory ritual.
The howl. Yeah.
He must have done the same thing on you. And made you forget that you told him about the lamp.
Well, that's
You
not
know-
unsettling.
You lot may be true heroes, but you are walking a tightrope The thickness of a hair strand over a pit of lava.
Yeah, got a lot tighter today.
That's putting it mildly, Galadriel.
Well, nothing to be done.
No, but
We have stuff to sort out. Let's focus on the kingdom for now. I'll go shout at him every 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, you have the helmet.
Yeah, I'm not going to start spending 15 minutes every 15 minutes to cast for the rest of my life.
No, but we're gonna have to address this in some way. I mean, honestly, yes, that was awkward, but it did reveal something about his character.
That he is truly insane, like I've been trying to explain to you.
Yes, but can you not see the twisted logic in it?
That's the first time we've ever gotten a thread that makes sense. Even if it's twisted, I could follow it, you know?
Yes, although none of us would make any of the choices or the demands that he made as rational people. There was a logic to them.
Yeah, that helps.
Now, the only problem is we do have to find out how in the hell we're gonna not piss him off by checking in every 30 minutes.
That was draconian, if you don't mind me saying.
Wah wah.
Perhaps after he's cooled down.
Yeah, I was about to say he's just cranky.
I also think that's his way of saying he wants to be an advisor.
An advisor doesn't require someone to check in with them every 30 minutes.
No,
It's
right
much,
now,
much worse than that.
That's why he's telling us to do that.
This is much worse than being an advisor, though. This is him.
Yeah, that's the point.
That sounds like a slippery slope. Advisor first, king next.
He was never king. I think he believes. I think he's above that.
He believes it doesn't count if he's king. It doesn't work. Multiple kingdoms to Erithus, though, that's certainly something. It's almost weird. It's like our desires aren't that far away from each other. They're just different, you know? It's like, how can they be so close but still so far apart?
But there's okay. When I was younger, or growing up, there was a lady in town. She used to, I mean, excuse the story, but she used to suffer the most horrible abuse at the hands of her husband.
Right.
And I never could understand, because, you know, if someone would hit me, I'd want to hit them back. Or if someone was mean to me, I wouldn't want to be their friend. And I'd ask my parents, why doesn't she just leave him? Why doesn't she just hit him back? And whenever she came sobbing to my door with a black eye that my mother would have to tend to, or a cut arm, and say she just fell down, but we all knew it wasn't true, whenever anyone tried to talk to her about the truth, she always blamed herself. Whenever you heard them arguing in public, it was always her fault for some reason. Something that she did that angered him. Something that no rational person would want to do, or would ask of someone else. That's him. He's justifying his behavior in his head. But anything we do, any slip up that he perceives, is going to be our fault. I don't know if there's any reasoning with that.
Not necessarily, but there is a sort of sense it can all make. I mean, like, we don't really necessarily have a choice now.
Well, we do
What
have
we're
a
gonna do.
choice. It's just it makes the wrong choice makes our lives significantly more difficult.
Or just not exist.
The problem is, I don't know that we could make a right choice. It's not really a catch-22 if no matter which direction we go in, there's probably something he's going to find fault in. The question is, how
Yeah.
far can we push it?
We give back for a little while now. We kind of need to anyway. There's a lot that needs to be done at home in the first place.
Not to interrupt you guys, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick kingdom action, since there has been a kingdom action taken since you guys have been gone.
We didn't have much wealth anyway, but you're right.
Does that include what I have on the sheet?
The sheet has just changed.
Yeah.
So when you say if you're keeping track on your side as well.
The party sheet.
Oh no, this is
Oh.
just the kingdom, not our personal wealth.
Oh yeah, the kingdom has a wealth stat.
Ah,
If you click on
I don't-
Dokus or at the very top,
I think
Morgan, you can see all the stats, right?
I think it was 0 already.
Yeah, it was 0.
Yeah.
But we lost happiness and loyalty.
But gain production half full.
That's okay.
True.
We needed production. We didn't need happiness or loyalty. In the metagame of it.
Fair.
Yeah, let me tell you, in the metagame, low happiness has no downside. Don't pay attention to that stat.
We got lots of that anyway.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's just some fucking feel-good bullshit, probably.
fine. We're pretty well rounded right now.
You're literally a rectangle.
I think maybe it's more that any opportunity where we slide gives him a chance to move things in the direction he would have done. You know? Like what's happened today. This is what he would envision if he was at the head. That sort of helps us understand him a little.
It sounds like you all need to be very clear about your orders.
Yeah.
I think we have to be very clear about our orders to make sure as little damage as possible happens to the kingdom, but I don't know if clarity is going to help us in our relationship with Vale.
I don't know either. I've known people like that.
Raise an eyebrow.
They're just looking for something to be wrong.
Right. That's exactly.
Not like you, Galad. You're very pleasant.
I wink.
Okay. Okay. All right. I just have to mentally prepare myself that I don't get to fight anything for a long time. I gotta be sad for a second.
No, I don't. I don't think that's the solution, though. We can't just sit here in the city and not. I don't know.
No, I
Sorry.
don't mean to do everything he said. I mean, I think legitimately, actually, our kingdom needs help before we can leave again, regardless of
I
how he
agree.
feels.
They need some sort of direction.
Yeah.
You're right. We should split the party.
No.
I've got it. We should head to the Feywild.
Mm.
Wait. Erie might have something here. If we can go back to the Feywild and go back in time even further, then we can just get stuff done while we're still here.
Dun dun dun.
I'm a genius.
The face you made upset me so thoroughly.
Also, another thing, he got that kingdom action done in a day and a half, which is certainly saying something.
Like, I'm confused on the timeline. So we left the Feywild, right? And then we arrived to the front door.
You guys traveled to the there's a very, very small step that you're missing, and that is that you traveled to the pink forest or whatever. You blacked out for a split second, and then you were
Yeah.
alone in the
Oh,
forest,
okay.
and you're like, what the fuck happened? And Glad's like, you forgot the cool adventure we had over the last couple of days,
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
and then went immediately back in.
And not just that. Keep in mind that Vale may not operate in the same kind of time frames that we do.
Yeah, and let me just go ahead and say as well, anytime that you guys want to drop one of your kingdom stats to 0 and like penalize 2 other stats for a +1 to like production and like get some slavery going, you can let me know. We can bust that out in like an instant.
Hell yeah, slavery.
That's not hard.
That's that. Claire's been itching for slavery since day one.
I've just been planting seeds for someone else to do it. I don't want it personally. Someone's gonna do it though.
Claire's gonna be like, listen, we just picked up literally 500 slaves. Isn't the good thing to give them the life they're already used to?
Look, they're not gonna be able to assimilate to normal life.
Yeah. Gotta wean them off that slavery.
Look, we'll
we can start them on
abolish it in like
yeah, we
700,
can start them-
8,000 years.
we can start them on like a payment plan to buying themselves back, and by the time they've bought themselves back, they'll be ready to not be slaves anymore.
Crazy.
Kaz, your face, I love it.
You guys were just talking about links of time, and it's kind of crazy to me how casually, like, he drops a month and a year as someone would, like, a minute or an hour. Because that's kind of what they are to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows how long he's been fucking alive?
Yes.
Yeah, Vale.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing. How do we know that he perceives time linearly like we do?
Oh, probably not. Even just regular, like, elves, just your run-of-the-mill fucking regular elf or Eladrin sees time differently than we do.
Right, and like, how do we know that he
the
doesn't track our
knowledge-
movement to the Fae and all the way back
Yeah.
as one chain for him?
But the meta knowledge that I would say that he views time linearly, but it just passes so much quicker for him, is no more timey-wimey stuff.
I agree. For now.
I think we all agree for now. Erie's like, I'll renegotiate when I get time warp.
Oh, that's a
Are,
thing.
are we? Am I level 20 yet?
Not quite.
It's okay. I'll never get the ritual anyway, because still won't give it to me.
Well, I guess or point of
No,
orders,
But he will give it to Warren.
get the gold back. Go get the gold back to the kingdom. Sit Saigar in a room, put him up pen and paper in front of him, and say, "Write."
Do we? I mean, do we feel that going and taking the gold back is not going to be met with some kind of repercussions?
He made it as a decision for the kingdom, and I think the betterment of the kingdom in our running it is counter to it. I gave him the sword as reconciliation.
Yeah, and then he said he'd get back to bringing us the coins in a few months or
Yeah.
years.
Well, yeah, like it's his bed currently, but he will, he respects your wishes.
In due
I'm
time.
not saying can't. I'm just saying if you want to go down that road, you're gonna have to fight for it again.
That's
And I don't
kind
know
of-
that I
yeah.
do so quickly. Because
I
if
mean,
he's
he's
got
he's got some big claws. It's kind of a pain to like have people just dump buckets of gold down into his fucking living room, and then it's easy for him to like push it all into a pile, but it's way harder to spend time to like pick out the gemstones and stuff. That was a tough ask, guys.
Give me a little.
Rude.
he can be any size he wants.
Yeah. You can have,
Oh, man.
No,
you can have shovels for hands.
guys, our friend has a problem. He asked us that he didn't want to hoard anymore, so we are making sure that he's staying sober and on the wagon.
That's not money to him. That's fucking chump change. That's only good enough to be slept on.
Good
He
question.
We should probably, legitimately, probably do some kingdom stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you
No,
gonna
I agree.
explain why Saigar enacted a law and then came back and said, no, I didn't say that?
Well, it's too late. They gave away all the gold already.
Not all the gold, right? Most of it?
Enough
All the
for
gold.
the wealth to
There's-
be reduced to 0.
There's a lot of nobles who are still in full-on holdout that are going to come like storming into your office and fucking demand like you repeal this declaration, and make sure that they continue to remain in wealthy power. But the people who are loyal to your cause have already gone ahead and well, they said no wealth and we've got everything we need, so okay.
Weren't we going to replace the gold anyway with something else?
Yeah.
It's
You're
We're actually
right, but the gold
running out-
itself served a different kind of purpose.
Yeah, it's a bed.
I'm not saying we can't get it back. I'm just that it's not immediately useful, and if we can appease him a little bit by letting him hold on to it for a while, that's not bad. Where the fuck are we going to use it anyway? It's worthless in the car. High Helm's gone.
If anything the past months learned is that gold is worthless and nobody wants it.
Also,
Yeah, that's true.
point of order, he made a kingdom decision and then called us.
Yeah.
No, that's,
yeah.
There's one other point of order. Actually, this is, I mean, like, in terms of establishing rules, not only did he make a kingdom decision, he made it. He didn't make a kingdom decision as Vale. He made a kingdom decision as impersonating one of us.
Yeah, he impersonated me,
He
right?
impersonated Saigar.
Yeah.
He just did Saigar's decision for him.
We're not saying any of this is good or commendable.
Might want to
It's-
set up some checks and balances for each of you in case you're impersonated when you're not looking.
It's just kind of hard. It's kind of hard to be like, no, don't do that, you all-powerful dragon. Bad.
No, I get it.
I want to just clarify that while we're talking about checks and balances, I did write this campaign before the 2016 election.
Do we get us like a squirt bottle when he starts doing bad and just...
It would
Every
suddenly
time he
melt.
does one bad thing, we knock over a structure.
Yeah, he's a frog. He might like the squirt gun.
No, but,
Oh,
but the-
Vale, you're doing bad. Apartment building block C has to go now. You have to learn your lesson.
the funny thing is that might work.
For like a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
What can we help with right now?
First off, law and order.
Is it helpful to us to stop people from throwing the rest of their money away, or is it worse?
No, we don't want them to throw away anything more. Because keep in mind, it may not be money anymore, Warren, but there's other uses we can come up with it.
Yeah, if we're gonna get rid of wealth, I would rather have melted it down to use the metal.
I mean, if we can also stop people from throwing away personal belongings.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
then, and also
Real quick,
clarify.
I don't want to just jump in real fast. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Sagar, that's a you thing real quick. Why don't you, before we like end this game, ponder what your actual like approach is going to be, which is like after the order has come from you, which is like, hey, sacrifice your wealth to the great pit for reasons. Then like 24 hours a year later, you're like, actually stop though. You're gonna figure out how to phrase that because I'd love to know.
Is that something I have to decide right now or for next game?
I think we should do it pretty quick.
That's like
Yeah.
a whole kingdom decision choice, though.
You know what? He's missed a couple. We'll let you do a whole kingdom decision choice, absolutely. But also, I want to let you know that it is 100% true that in addition to that being a real issue that you're going to have to resolve sort of next game session, on top of that, Caslin did actually put the wedding ring that you guys got for him as children, and that has also been tossed down there. And it's very clear that he and Kyo are not speaking currently.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, Caslin, why?
God damn it, Caslin.
Family troubles.
He's such a big dumb.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ponder this one a little bit.
Yeah, I just want to throw it out there.
Is the other one a kingdom decision, or is that like a domestic decision? That one seems like our friends are fighting and we should help.
It seems like a next episode problem.
It does. We're also going to like touch on the stuff with, I imagine, with Shireen and Karna that happened like immediately. That happens at some point in time during today's game session before we end today's game session saying, and then a month passed, which I'm going to do. But we're probably not going to do those scenes today. We're going to do them like next session, and then it'll be the passage of time. But I wanted to clarify this because we've got like 10 minutes left in tonight's game. I would say that as you guys sort of figure out what sort of the current kingdom stuff entails, there are a few things that you should know. The first is that after some communication with the people in your kingdom, you also discover that Therica is in the hospital, and her identity as Princess Therica has been revealed. She had gone to sort of like help out with the pile. Basically, some random person was like, here, hold this, and just passed her a metal bar, and she had just badly burnt her hands and wrists and peeled off a layer of skin. And very, very luckily, she's in the hospital. But now it is confirmed that the princess, who is the only person that is known to have this condition, at least until sort of recently, is actually in the kingdom. And the
I didn't even know that was
you
a secret.
kind of was, yeah. She was waiting for you to announce it because she was going to be like in charge, and that kind of got swept under the rug. She was kind of hidden, like Javi and people knew that they were there, but that was kind of about it. The other thing that you should know is that Kiovasan informs you that the small little like funeral thing that is being held is that in the middle of combat drills, one of the paladins that worked for Yulathashung IV previously, his name was Brother Cruz, melted. His flesh burnt inside his armor.
No!
And as he collapsed down to the ground, beautiful wildflowers grew out of it. And he died in the span of a minute. It was gruesome and horrible. And ever since that happened, the town has been very, very quietly talking about the people, the magisters of the city, Iri and Kyvius, because many of them have been seeing an eye in their sleep, and they wonder if it's related.
Oh, it'd come back.
Fix it.
So Brother Cruz is dead?
He's dead.
Did he melt like fake curse melt?
He
Yeah.
full-on fake curse melted. There was one other person as well, and that was Tora Glaren, who was Saigar's cousin, that met the same fate. But nobody cares about her.
Body count's really stacking up.
I kind of care about her.
Well, she's dead.
Ha!
She just melted.
Also melted.
No, seriously,
She-
she's melted.
She was wearing a very, very tight corset with the metal bands on the top and the bottom. And she was in, like, just having a conversation with friends, and she started to scream, and her corset melted through her. And just pulled out her midsection, and she died gruesomely and rapidly.
Hey, Sargar, come all over to the Morgaine side of this conversation.
People are developing the metal allergy randomly.
And just like Brother Cruz, flowers grew out of her corpse.
Kind of flowers.
What kind of color were they?
They were white, winter blooms.
Winter bloom.
Did those happen at the same time, or were they spread out?
Hasn't been a lot of time, so I imagine that it's like this is the Tora's death happens during the month time skip, like 3 weeks later.
That's so much worse. That means it could happen at any time, and not that it happened as a one-time event.
Steel really wants us to go back to the Feywild and make amends.
Yeah, you should definitely do that.
Yeah, that'll fix it.
Feywild Arc 2.
Although my favorite part about this is after that harrowing scene he went through, you feel like, oh, this will be the last time. It's fine.
Oh yeah, that's right. Double last time.
I'm sorry, I was trying to ask. It felt like a one-time strike. Like, hey, these people melted.
They only melted a
By the
little
way.
bit.
I mean, enough to kill them.
They got better.
I did. We have too many NPCs in this game. They were excessive.
We never even got to talk to Brother Cruz. That makes me
I know.
sad.
I
Man.
tried.
I practiced my big black guy accent. I was ready for it and everything, but nah.
Is it
Fakehurst.
too late to side with Jan Savos?
Technically, you're about 2 days too late.
Steele looked at his political career and realized that impersonating a black man in a D&D game isn't where he wants to be.
100%. They were going to pull this video off of YouTube in the year 2037, and I was going to be in trouble.
For doing black voice?
Never gonna
Yeah.
be prime minister. We've got some work
Saigar
to
has a
do.
kingdom problem, then me and Kyvius have that problem to figure out what we're gonna do with.
No,
How we're.
I'm going to
Are
give
you gonna-
Saigar a mini one because he missed a couple of his kingdom problems along the way, and then we're going to open next week with regular kingdom problems again, and it's going to be a little more complicated next time.
Okay, so I don't have to figure out why the
Nah.
people are melting.
Nah, just a Saigar. I
For
think you know why people are melting.
management, meta question,
Uh-huh.
how in depth are we going in our rules?
We're going to skim the surface of it. Why
Okay,
do you
so
ask?
If I hand you a 30-page document of if this, then that,
I
okay.
will read it.
Oh my god.
I'm not reading your
100%.
stupid law book.
Oh my god.
I'll read it.
It's
Just so-
going in the pit.
The declaration.
Morgaine hands the book of laws to Eerie, who just nopes it into the pit.
Slam dunked.
I just want to be in that situation, that horrible situation where we go off for 2 days.
Yeah.
Vale makes a decision, be like, Vale, you broke the law. You have to go sit in prison for 2 months now.
You cannot
Doesn't
build.
apply
You
to
cannot
friends.
build a society without
Yeah,
laws.
that's not how-
Mel.
That's not how friends would treat each other. Friends would
Yeah.
give their friend a pass.
No,
Friends would
but
give friends a get out of
I
jail
threw
free card.
Kyvie in jail a month ago.
And, and hasn't let him out.
I slid a note underneath the door that just said, fix it.
Yeah. Cool. That checks.
Do we get to build something though? Do we
You
all
are.
get to decide on something this week?
We're gonna do all the kingdom building stuff next week. We're gonna get back
Over
into the
that
rhythm.
goddamn pit.
But I would love, it's up to you guys, it's completely optional. I would love to know if there is a direction the group is going to be going other than spending the first half of next session basically pondering kingdom stuff. Nothing that you'd like to be able to decide today or next week.
Well, because
I
we
think
have
we
to
were
get a
largely-
permission
oh.
slip signed by Mom, I think the closest location to our kingdom would probably be the most likely that she'd let us go with only a couple. of emergency kits in case one of us scrapes our knee.
No, he doesn't want you to go any of those places. You're not allowed to go fucking sneak into his pit. He told you're not allowed to go to the one to the north without, like, without him accompanying you. And he told you not to have any contact with the people on the top of the mountain. So the answer is no to all of those.
Cool. Well, I mean, we're gonna go anyway, but
like, Mom, the Kha's going to attack us in 3 months.
I feel like
do you mean to any of the locations on the map? Also, he's like, oh, don't go to Atheos. You don't leave. That's too far.
It's like, it's weird. It's obsessive. It's controlling, but it's also like super protective.
Yeah.
It was the first thing he said is, "Oh, are you guys okay?" So like that mom, that like the helicopter parent,
Yeah.
and then the slightly racist helicopter parent where he
Yeah.
brought over his black friend, and like, how dare you make this new friend?
Yeah. I haven't signed off on this new friend.
I'm gonna call his parents. Moira.
Yeah,
Unless I
Golem
can
was
think
just
of.
like
Oh yeah.
complete poker face the entire time.
Unless I can think of anything else.
Yeah,
pretty sure
I think we're all agreed that like on like the direction that we'd like to head next, if Mom lets us, which she won't.
You won't.
But regardless of what Mom says, I think I think we were all agreed the next direction is to go talk to the guys that are closer.
we're gonna go play Dark Souls.
I thought we were considering
you
doing a
guys,
tour,
I get
no?
to adventure all I
No,
want. I'm just
we
put a cloak on a robot. And be
Let's
fine.
have this be end the session with like an in-character conversation. You guys have returned back to your manor house is maybe the best way to describe it. Caslin sleeping on the couch. That's basically like he's bunking with Warren. While Kiyovasan and Leaf have the room at the end of the hall still.
That's fair.
And the rest of you gathered around your little wooden table, your possessions and bizarre Feywild trinkets from your recent journeys, finding a home somewhere in your house.
So
Chessboard stashed where Warren can't see it.
So that was.
Oh no, I carry that with me at all
conversation.
times. You never know when you need to play chess.
That was certainly an interesting conversation with Vale.
right.
Tell Kyo about Vale.
I'm
think we
thinking
did.
about it.
I thought we-
Wait. Yeah, we kind of did. It was really vague. She knows about him. Indirectly. When she asked me about the dragon she killed, she made it very clear that she's very suspicious that the thing that killed it is here and asked me if we could trust it. So, yeah, she knows.
Waiting for him to be in a room with like a bunch of these, like all the like Karna and all those people, be like, "Oh, I've wiped their memories. No second chances." Bye.
Right.
So, I don't think anything changes from what we talked about back in the caves. I still think the more that we understand Vale, or really the key to it all is understanding Vale.
Yeah,
I think
sorta-
once we've put our things in order here, that really should be our next pursuit.
Ooh.
it's also the only one we can really do. I mean, with the resources we have on hand, getting all the way further out of the kingdom would quite literally bankrupt us. So
True.
it's
Yeah,
not.
it might be a good idea to hold off from traveling anywhere really far so far.
I did want to Well, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anybody disagree with going to see the people who know about the mantles and the dragon's lineage?
No, I think that's probably the best course. The more we can learn, the more we can understand, and the more we can piece everything together.
That would be my vote as well.
Sounds neat to me.
So I don't think we're really in a position to head off to the Brave Lands right now.
As much as I would love to have an enemy of my enemy as my ally, I don't even know how we'd approach negotiations.
I just don't really know right now. I'm gonna purposely abstain from any kind of vote.
You can't abstain. You took this job, you have to vote.
I decline, Erie. Make me.
This is why he was the leader of
Zygar
Jam
is thrown from the window.
I gotta have power for this.
You clear his mind in a friendly way.
And Zygar just like slides around the battlefield for a split second. He's like, okay, I will vote.
No. Instead, he goes counter shot.
Oh yeah.
And Erie dies.
That
can't
doesn't
fight
hit
it
me.
here. This is the war room.
21 AC doesn't hit you?
Nope.
What?
Because I cast shield. Still
Oh, shit.
doesn't hit me.
25 AC doesn't
I
hit
tapped 2 blue mana.
Not with one of his abilities. It doesn't matter.
you. No, I'm making a stance. I'm not voting on this one. I'll do what the group wants to do.
Might I ask why?
I have my reasons.
He likes to be mysterious.
It's
Yes,
true.
he's respectably cryptic.
It's part of his whole image.
What got us here?
It's not wrong.
In the meantime, if no one disagrees, then I had a few ideas to delay the car without actually interfering.
To hear him.
Well, if we...
And
sorry.
I'll start getting just before you go into it, then I guess I'll start getting the people ready to receive epitaph, iron gas, and Ka refugees.
I really... I'm actually kind of glad that this island has big creatures roaming around it, because it'll make ingratiating epitaph a little easier. Iron gas is going to be complicated. I do think we have to be fair enough and actually give them the school we promised when they get here, though. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I also think we should have a giant tournament to show off the skills of each nation.
Warren, why are you making that face? Are you okay? Are you in pain?
Is that drool?
It's too soon! We
That's
can't...
true.
These things are very delicate.
It's not like a fighting tournament.
Delicate schmelicate.
Kinda
You're
like
talking about
dancing
fighting,
and
Warren.
Right?
Dancing is fucking for shitters who can't hold swords.
You know what? I think I might go back to being racist.
And on that incredible note, we're gonna wrap for the night, guys. You all ponder your options for, I imagine, many hours, constantly concerned about if there is somebody who's going to be overhearing this conversation or not. Kyvius still thinking about your choice to size up your once friend ? Vale, and prepare for perhaps if things ever came to blows. And all of you are constantly thinking about how Karna once approached Morgaine and said that she didn't want to be a prisoner and she could leave. And he said, yeah, absolutely, go. You're not prisoners here. And you wonder a little bit if that's true for the 6 of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not a prisoner here, Karna. A little piece
We
of
are.
paper. Help!
We are.
Get us out.
Just blink SOS.
Help.
Help! Giant dragon holding hostage.
So I'm guessing we're gonna
Morgan,
canonize
if you're
all our
okay, blink once.
we're gonna canonize all our decisions over the month next session.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Pretty
All right,
much.
cool.
Alright, I've got to go to bed, guys.
I'll get to work on my
And
40-page
Past my
document.
bedtime.
And
I'll
we're
see you guys
going
later.
to the kiln place.
Yeah.
climbing the mound, the order of the kiln, see what their fucking deal is. Hook back up with Zamboni Jacuzzi.
That is one.
Maybe
guy
we
I'm
can
excited
pick up
to
a
see.
couple homeward bones and just teleport back.
Stop
If
it.
we had some more Residium, Warren could just make us a fucking teleportation circle.
Yeah, if we only had Residium.
We
We
have
only had
enough
like a
to
Foundling
make it.
stone that we could do that.
Any Residium we would get would have to be used to phone home to Mom anyway.
This. Remember when we made fun of
I've really
the
gotta go.
building?
I'm sorry. Good night,
All right.
guys.
See you.
Later, Reg.